the school beauty's personal bodyguard. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 676. There is a solution. However, Lin Yi felt a little discouraged. Acupuncture for forcing out poisons is universal, but the effects vary depending on the target. As a cultivator, his physique and willpower were much stronger than those of ordinary people, so he could tolerate acupuncture for forcing out poisons. Acupuncture for forcing out poisons involves using acupuncture to mobilize the vital energy within the body, forcing the poison into a single location, ultimately excreting it through urine. This process is incredibly painful and demands a high level of physical fitness from the recipient. If the ki is exhausted, the forcing out of the poison could lead to death. Ordinary people simply cannot use this method because their vital energy is very small, a stark difference from that of a cultivator. That little amount simply isn't enough to expel the poison from their bodies. Of course, for common poisons, or chronic poisons, these aren't life-threatening. Even for forcing out the poison, a large amount of vital energy wouldn't be needed, and simply channeling it through acupuncture or massage would be sufficient. But Chu Mengyao is an ordinary person, and the poison she was infected with is deadly enough. Lin Yi doesn't dare to take the risk in this way. Otherwise, if it really doesn't work, he will continue to input energy into Chu Mengyao's body to help her prolong her life, and then take her to see the old man? I think the old man will definitely have a way. Lin Yi suddenly had an idea. Input energy. The energy in his body can be used by Chu Mengyao, which means that he can completely transmit energy into Chu Mengyao's body while using acupuncture to force out the poison for her. The true energy in Chu Mengyao's body comes from his body. As long as he continuously transmits it to her, there will be no problem of the true energy running out. Thinking of this, Lin Yi was suddenly happy. He didn't expect that he would have to rely on his own energy in the end. He should thank Jiao Yezi Jiao Lao for this. If it weren't for him, Lin Yi didn't know that the true energy he cultivated was so useful. However, after the joy, Lin Yi felt a little embarrassed. After all, acupuncture to force out the poison required taking off all clothes, but the young lady was not his girlfriend. If it was Tang Yun, it would be fine, but would the young lady agree? Besides, he couldn't secretly take off Chu Mengyao's clothes while she was unconscious. After all, when forcing out the poison, Chu Mengyao had to cooperate in a conscious state. Grandpa Guan, please talk to the hospital and prepare a fully enclosed ward for me. I need acupuncture, and it must be absolutely quiet and cannot be disturbed by anyone. Lin Yi pondered for a moment and said to Guan Zuman. Firstly, he was really afraid of being disturbed. Secondly, if Chu Mengyao wanted to take off her clothes, she couldn't let others see her, so a fully enclosed ward was also needed. No problem, Guan Zuman nodded. If the first hospital was a public-private partnership, Guan Zuman's words lacked force. The second hospital was completely privately owned, meaning his son, Guan Xiaoxiang, was the hospital's largest owner, and the dean's orders were his. Putting aside Guan Zuman's prestige in the medical profession, even if he were just an ordinary person, his influence was widespread in this hospital. Guan Zuman called the dean directly, and quickly cleared a room in the emergency room. A fully enclosed operating room. Medical staff quickly wheeled Chu Mengyao into the operating room, while Chu Pengzhan, Uncle Fu, and Guan Zuman conscientiously stayed out. Although Guan Zuman wanted to know Lin Yi's acupuncture techniques, he abandoned the idea of watching after hearing Lin Yi's insistence that he couldn't be disturbed. I want to stay with Sister Yao. Chen Yushu, unwilling to leave, ran into the operating room. Zia Oshu, don't disturb Lin Yi's acupuncture. Come out now. Chu Pengzhan, aware of Chen Yushu's relationship with his daughter, felt compelled to assert his authority as an elder to prevent her from interfering with Lin Yi. I won't. Brother Arrow, are you kicking me out? Chen Yushu looked at Lin Yi pitifully, but her tone was resolute. I must stay with Sister Yao. Oh, you don't have to leave. You can stay and help. Lin Yi had no intention of kicking Chen Yushu out. After all, he was going to talk to Chu Mengyao about acupuncture soon. And if she felt overwhelmed, Chen Yushu would be there to help. Great. Brother Arrow is the best. Chen Yushu was delighted to finally be able to do something for Sister Yao. Chu Pengzhan, relieved to hear Lin Yi say this, was also relieved to have Chen Yushu assist him. After all, Chen Yushu would never harm Chu Mengyao and would definitely do her best. After Lin Yi entered the operating room, he locked the door. It was soundproof, so no one outside could hear anything. Brother Arrow, should we start saving Sister Yao now? What do you need me to do? Chen Yushu asked anxiously. I'll need Yao to take off her clothes while I do the acupuncture. However, Yao might be a little overwhelmed. Can you help her with that? Lin Yi said to Chen Yushu. Oh, okay, Chen Yushu nodded. But Brother Arrow, you're not deliberately taking this opportunity to see Sister Yao's body, are you? How? Lin Yi smiled. I want to see it. Why would I need to discuss it with her? I'll have you take off her clothes right now. Oh, that's right. Chen Yushu thought about it, and it was indeed true. But she said, then why would we need to discuss it? I'll take off Sister Yao's clothes right now, no matter if she agrees or not. Let's ask her what she thinks. Lin Yi waved his hand to stop Chen Yushu from continuing. Instead, he grasped Chu Mengyao's wrist and activated the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue internal energy technique. The energy in Lin Yi's body rapidly surged into Chu Mengyao's body. Soon, Chu Mengyao's eyelashes fluttered, and she woke up again. This time, she realized something was wrong. Did I faint again? Chu Mengyao opened her eyes, only to find herself in an unfamiliar room, not the isolation room from before. Fortunately, the people before her were still familiar faces, Lin Yi and Xiaoshu. The energy in your body is being destroyed too quickly by the poison. I can only transfer my own energy to you to wake you up, but this is only temporary. If I stop transferring it, you'll fall unconscious again in a short while, Lin Yi said. Ah, Chu Mengyao was startled. So that's what happened. Before, she thought she had recovered. What happened to me? You must have been poisoned, Lin Yi said. Then can I still get better? Chu Mengyao asked. Chapter 677 Is Sister Yao pretty? Yes, I'm going to use acupuncture to force the poison out of you, but I need your cooperation, Lin Yi said. How do I cooperate? Chu Mengyao asked. Take off your clothes, otherwise I can't do the acupuncture, Lin Yi said. Ah, that won't work. Chu Mengyao was stunned for a moment, and instinctively refused. And take off your clothes? Her face flushed instantly. How could Chu Mengyao agree to strip naked in front of Lin Yi? At least she couldn't get over that mental barrier. Her chastity was at stake. How could a girl's body be so easily exposed to a man? You can think of me as a doctor, Lin Yi guessed that with a young lady's personality, she wouldn't just take off her clothes in front of him. She had previously felt excruciating pain after drinking his drink. Unlike Chen Yushu, the young lady took this very seriously. This was why Lin Yi had to ask for Chu Mengyao's consent. He didn't want her to have a grudge afterward. Chu Mengyao frowned. Lin Yi was right. He was a doctor now, but how could she treat him like one? This is completely self-deceiving. If Chu Mengyao shows him her naked body, how will she face him in the future? How will they live under the same roof? How embarrassing will that be? Besides, will she get married in the future? Lin Yi's idea is right. Chu Mengyao is a girl who attaches great importance to chastity. She wants to give her future husband a pure body. Lin Yi shrugged and looked at Chen Yushu. The task of persuading the young lady was given to her. Anyway, Chu Mengyao woke up this time, and it would take a while before she fell into coma again. Lin Yi simply said nothing. He walked to a chair beside and sat down, waiting quietly. Sister Yao, you have to take off your clothes. Be obedient and good. Chen Yushu knew that Lin Yi had given her the task, so she naturally had to work hard. Haha, Chu Mengyao couldn't help but laugh as Chen Yushu tried to persuade her like a little adult. Normally, she was the one telling Chen Yushu to be good and obedient, but today, she was the complete opposite. Xiaoshu, you know what? A girl's body shouldn't be casually seen by men, not casually, just for Brother Arrow to see. It doesn't matter, Chen Yushu said. Even so, it's not allowed. Only my future husband can see it, Chu Mengyao said. A girl's chastity is very important. We'd rather die than be seen by anyone, is that so? Chen Yushu rolled her eyes, but her expression was one of regret. Yes, so, let Lin Yi treat me like this, dressed like this. If he doesn't work, I won't blame him. Chu Mengyao smiled and stroked Chen Yushu's hair. Then I'll help you undress, Chen Yushu said, and started to undress Chu Mengyao. Xiaoshu, Chu Mengyao didn't realize her words were in vain. Why didn't her best friend understand? She quickly stretched out her hand to stop him. What are you doing? Didn't I tell you? A girl's body is very precious and can only be seen by her future husband. That's right, Brother Arrow has seen my body, so I can only marry him as a concubine. I am a concubine, and you are Brother Arrow's first wife, so he is your future husband. It doesn't matter if you let him see it. At most, it can be regarded as a preview. You will have to see it in the future, am I right? Chen Yushu said confidently. Chu Mengyao widened her eyes, and was angry and amused by Chen Yushu's words. But to be honest, what Xiaoshu said was not wrong. Lin Yi did see Xiaoshu without clothes, touched Xiaoshu's breasts, and kissed Xiaoshu. They were quite intimate. But Chen Yushu's theory of first wife and concubine still made Chu Mengyao a little unacceptable. Too far-fetched, right? However, Chu Mengyao suddenly remembered her previous promise to stay with Xiaoshu forever, to be lifelong best friends. She suddenly felt dizzy, and unexpectedly, she overexerted herself and fainted again. Oh, Sister Yao, since you're quiet, I'll take that as a sign of embarrassment. Chen Yushu rubbed her hands together and excitedly began to undress Chu Mengyao. Soon, she was stripped down to a slender figure. Although Lin Yi didn't go in, the operating room was small, and his hearing was amazing, so he could hear what Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu were saying. However, he couldn't interrupt, so he pretended not to hear. Chen Yushu took advantage of Chu Mengyao's unconsciousness to undress her, which amused Lin Yi a little, but he didn't try to stop her. He could tell that the young lady's psychological barriers were finally loosening. It would be impossible to completely convince her in a short time, and since Chen Yushu had already stripped her naked, Chu Mengyao had no choice but to accept it. Brother Arrow, come here quickly, I have stripped Sister Yao's clothes off, Chen Yushu excitedly shouted to Lin Yi. After she knew that Lin Yi had a way to save Chu Mengyao, she was no longer worried. After listening to Chen Yushu's words, Lin Yi felt a little funny, as if he was a big gangster, and Chen Yushu was his accomplice, helping him to plot against Chu Mengyao. Lin Yi walked over, and his breathing couldn't help but stagnate. Although he had tried very hard to restrain himself, and now he was a doctor and didn't let himself have wild thoughts, but the person he was facing was the young lady. How could he not have wild thoughts? It is impossible to say that Lin Yi has no fantasies about the young lady. Every day when they are together, Lin Yi always has some thoughts about the young lady and Xiaoshu. It's just that having thoughts is one thing, but Lin Yi can't really steal the young lady, right? Chu Mengyao's skin was crystal clear and fair. Lin Yi's gaze lingered there, unwilling to move. This was the first time Lin Yi had openly gazed upon a woman's body. Although he had seen Xiaoshu's before, the situation was awkward and his view wasn't very clear. As for Song Lingshan, Lin Yi hadn't dared to look too closely either, but now he could see as much as he pleased. Brother Arrow, is Sister Yao pretty? Chen Yushu noticed Lin Yi's strangeness and asked. Lin Yi wasn't foolish enough to fall for it like Xuanyuan had. He said nothing, taking a deep breath to clear his mind. Let's get started. Oh, Chen Yushu was disappointed to see that his plan hadn't worked, but she was also a little happy. If Brother Arrow were as clueless as Xuanyuan, Sister Yao wouldn't have liked him. Lin Yi grabbed Chu Mengyao's wrist and once again activated the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue internal energy technique, channeling energy into her body. Chu Mengyao slowly woke up again. Chapter 678. What are you doing? Upon waking, Chu Mengyao felt a chill. She quickly reached out, but found nothing on her. She was immediately enraged. Xiaoshu, what did you do? Oh, Sister Yao, you're awake. Chen Yushu, however, looked at Chu Mengyao with a grin. Brother Arrow and I are going to treat you. Don't move, we're about to begin. You? Chu Mengyao was filled with shame and anger, but there was nothing she could do. Lin Yi had probably seen everything he should and shouldn't have seen, leaving her feeling a little depressed. While Chen Yushu's excuse might have been enough to deceive herself, she still needed to give herself some time to think and accept the situation. Treating herself like this was truly unkind. Yao, when I give you acupuncture, you may feel pain and fatigue, but you must endure it and don't move. Lin Yi didn't let Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu continue arguing, but instead began discussing the precautions involved in acupuncture. Oh, okay, Chu Mengyao had no choice but to accept the reality. Seeing that Lin Yi wasn't staring at her with lustful intent, but was genuinely giving her advice like a doctor, she felt a little better. Later on, you'll feel the urge to urinate. This is because I'm forcing all the toxins in your body into your excretion system, Lin Yi continued. He removed the silver needles, disinfected them with alcohol, and said to Chu Mengyao, "Get ready." "Yes," Chu Mengyao replied. Meanwhile, Chen Yushu also retrieved a disposable cup and stood aside, waiting. Lin Yi circled around Chu Mengyao, trying to find a comfortable position for acupuncture. However, no matter which side he stood on, he felt it was awkward. While Lin Yi was applying the needles with one hand, he had to hold Chu Mengyao's hand with the other, continuously transferring his energy. Therefore, whether Lin Yi stood on Chu Mengyao's left or right, he would be constrained. "Can you let me stand between you?" Lin Yi hesitated and suggested to Chu Mengyao. Only in this way could it be more convenient for Lin Yi to perform acupuncture while holding Chu Mengyao's hand. Chu Mengyao replied weakly. She knew that Lin Yi must have a reason for suggesting this, so she didn't ask any more questions. She closed her eyes, moved her legs, and made room as Lin Yi had instructed. "Okay, let's get started." Lin Yi tried hard to keep his eyes straight, not to see anything he shouldn't, and walked over to stand in front of Chu Mengyao. Chapter 679, Hold on. Oh, seeing Lin Yi's serious tone, Chen Yushu stopped talking nonsense and quickly shut up. Chu Mengyao breathed a sigh of relief and glared at Chen Yushu with resentment. Lin Yi reached out his left hand and grasped Chu Mengyao's right wrist, then silently activated the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue internal energy technique. Lin Yi could feel the energy in his body begin to flow into Chu Mengyao again. In just a few moments, half of the energy previously transferred to Chu Mengyao's body was lost. This was the first time Chu Mengyao felt Lin Yi's energy input while awake. She felt a warm current flow through Lin Yi's hand into her body. With this warmth, her once weak body became full of energy again. Chu Mengyao's eyes couldn't help but light up. Lin Yi was indeed no ordinary man. She wondered where Daddy had found such a remarkable person, so powerful that it was almost unbelievable. Could such a person become his henchman just for 30,000 yuan? He could easily become a doctor, or even open a restaurant and cook, and earn more than 30,000 yuan, right? So, what was he really after? Was he in love with me, or with Xiaoshu? It seemed not. He loved Teng Yun, not me, or Chen Yushu. Chu Mengyao felt a little disappointed and even more confused at the thought. But before she could even consider it, the silver needle in Lin Yi's hand had already swiftly penetrated her body. The long needle pierced through with a flash, sending a wave of fear through her. However, she didn't feel even the slightest pain, which put her fears to rest. "You'll feel a little hot all over, that's normal. Don't worry," Lin Yi said as he quickly applied the needles to her. "Yeah, it seems a little warm." Seeing Lin Yi's solemn expression, Chu Mengyao couldn't help but let go of her shyness and tried her best to cooperate. After all, he was working hard for her. Chen Yushu, however, stared intently at Chu Mengyao, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Oh, Sister Yao, your skin is turning red, like a giant lobster." "Xiaoshu, stop messing around," Chu Mengyao glared at her. "Don't distract Lin Yi." Chu Mengyao was furious because, after Chen Yushu finished speaking, Lin Yi's gaze shifted unconsciously, looking at her body, which embarrassed her. "Oh, sorry," Chen Yushu blinked sheepishly. "Brother Arrow, don't look at Sister Yao's body anymore. There will be plenty of opportunities later. Our first priority is to heal Sister Yao, or else she'll die and you won't be able to see." Chen Yushu, if Chu Mengyao weren't lying in bed, unable to move, she would have wanted to kick Chen Yushu into outer space and send her off to provoke aliens. Oh, I don't know anything and I didn't say anything." Chen Yushu quickly shut up. Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. These two sisters were truly amusing. However, it must be said that Xiaoshu and Yao's relationship is indeed beyond words. When Yao was in a coma, she was the most nervous person. But now that she knows Chu Mengyao can be saved, she started laughing again. "Yao, I want to feel the temperature of your armpit." This is also the first time that Lin Yi forced poison on someone, and it was an ordinary person at that, so the difficulty can be imagined. So Lin Yi would be very careful with every step, not daring to make any mistakes, otherwise, the consequences would be disastrous. "Okay," Chu Mengyao pursed her lips, and although she was shy, she nodded. Lin Yi stretched out his right hand that was performing acupuncture, and touched Chu Mengyao's armpit. Fortunately, it should be almost done, and we can proceed to the next step. Seeing this somewhat ambiguous action, Chen Yushu moved her mouth. She wanted to say something, but when she saw Sister Yao Iao's murderous eyes, she still shut her mouth. Okay, we can move on to the next step. Lin Yi collected the silver needles from Chu Mengyao's body and quickly inserted them into several more acupuncture points. You'll feel intense pain in a moment. This is the internal key forcing the poison together and toward the excretion system. You have to endure it. If it hurts too much, you can cry out. Yes, Chu Mengyao nodded, firmly saying, I can endure it. After a while, her face turned painful as she felt as if ants were appearing within her body. These ants seemed to be carrying some substance from her body, crawling toward her lower abdomen. The pain and itchiness were unbearable. She wanted to scratch with her hands, but one of her hands was held by Lin Yi, and she dared not move the other. She could only grit her teeth and endure it silently. Xiaoshu, go grab Yao Iao's hand. Lin Yi saw Chu Mengyao's pain. Lin Yi couldn't remember exactly how excruciating this pain was. The last time he was poisoned, forced to do so by Old Man Lin, was over a decade ago. Back then, Old Man Lin would poison the house whenever he had nothing better to do, leaving Lin Yi completely defenseless. A single careless mistake would have landed Lin Yi in the throes of poisoning. Of course, this was Old Man Lin's way of testing him. But in Lin Yi's opinion, this kind of pain was nothing compared to the torture the old man inflicted on himself. Oh, okay. Chen Yushu quickly grabbed Chu Mengyao's left hand and said, Sister Yao Iao, if it hurts, just squeeze my hand hard. I'm not afraid of pain. Ha ha ha. Chu Mengyao looked at Xiaoshu and forced a smile. I'm fine. It doesn't hurt. I can bear it. However, anyone observing Chu Mengyao's expression could tell she was being forced. Her expression betrayed her. She's fine, Lin Yi said calmly. I could bear this kind of pain when I was 9, let alone now that she's 19, Chu Mengyao grumbled. I'm a girl, okay, but thinking that although Lin Yi was a boy, he could hold it in at the age of 9, he was just a child at that time, and she was not even as good as a child? So Chu Mengyao gritted her teeth. No, I must hold on. How could I lose to a child? Lin Yi actually said this deliberately to motivate Chu Mengyao, otherwise, Chu Mengyao would definitely not be able to hold it in. I feel a little urgent. Chu Mengyao finally felt the urge to urinate and said hurriedly. You have to hold it in, otherwise the toxins can't be completely gathered together, Lin Yi quickly said. If the urine in your body is emptied, the toxins will not be able to come out. Chapter 680 It's raining again. Oh, okay, I'll hold it in. Chu Mengyao certainly wouldn't let Lin Yi's efforts go to waste, so she gritted her teeth and said. Lin Yi continued to input energy with his left hand, while his right hand kept changing the acupuncture points. Chu Mengyao's face became paler and more beads of sweat appeared on her forehead. It was obvious that she was in great pain. Come on, Sister Yao Iao, you are the best. You have always been Xiaoshu's idol. Chen Yushu held Chu Mengyao's hand tightly and encouraged her. Yet, Chu Mengyao smiled bitterly, and her voice changed a little. Xiaoshu, I'm in so much pain. I know, if I could take your place, Xiaoshu would rather suffer in your place. When Chen Yushu said this, it was from the heart. How could I let you suffer? Fortunately, it was me who was poisoned this time, not you. Chu Mengyao smiled. Don't worry, I'm not that fragile. Although it's very uncomfortable, I can hold on. Lin Yi asked Chen Yushu to stay here for this reason. Chen Yushu could keep talking to Chu Mengyao and cheer her up. This way, Chu Mengyao could hold on smoothly. Otherwise, Lin Yi really didn't know how to persuade Chu Mengyao. Chu Mengyao's urgency became stronger and stronger, but she remembered Lin Yi's words and didn't dare to defecate easily. She could only hold it in with great effort. Otherwise, what if the poison didn't come out? Not only did Lin Yi work in vain for a long time, but he also suffered in vain, right? So Chu Mengyao endured, but after all, this thing has a limit to its tolerance. Finally, Chu Mengyao really couldn't bear it anymore. She exclaimed, I can't hold it any longer. I'm going to explode. Xiaoshu. Hurry. Oh, I'm coming. Chen Yushu had just set the disposable cup aside to hold Chu Mengyao's hand, but now, in a panic, she couldn't find it. Where's the cup? Where's the cup? Where did I put it? Hurry, Xiaoshu. I can't hold it any longer. Chu Mengyao thought Xiaoshu would bring the cup over after she asked, but she hadn't realized she had lost it. Wasn't this hurting herself? I found it. I'm coming. Chen Yushu finally saw that she had placed a disposable cup on the ground behind her. She quickly picked it up and ran over. Lin Yi also let go of Chu Mengyao's hand, inserted the last silver needle, and stepped back. I can't hold it any longer. Chu Mengyao was about to cry. She was about to explode. How could she hold it in any longer? She released it without caring whether Xiaoshu was there or not. Lin Yi just took 2 steps back when he felt a stream of water falling from the sky, pouring all over his head and face. Chu Mengyao also saw this scene. She was so embarrassed that she almost found a hole to crawl into when she saw that she had sprayed Lin Yi's face and body. She hated Xiaoshu in her heart. He failed at the critical moment. Is this okay? Chu Mengyao wanted to hold it back, but how could she hold it back? Once released, it would be like a flood bursting through the dam. She had been holding it back so hard just now. Lin Yi was also stunned by this sudden scene. He stood there in a daze, staring at the young lady in amazement. Get out of the way, Chu Mengyao was anxious. Seeing Lin Yi still standing there motionless, staring at her without blinking, Chu Mengyao almost fainted. Lin Yi came back to his senses and quickly moved aside, unable to help but smile bitterly. This really was tit for tat. He drenched Zhong Pinliang, Guo Xiaofu, and Feng Xiaoxiao before, and now it was the young lady's turn to drench him. But, at that moment, it seemed quite thrilling. Lin Yi's heart suddenly skipped a beat, remembering a scene he'd seen in a porn movie. How could this be so similar to the legendary scene? Chen Yushu was also a little dumbfounded. She hadn't expected Lin Yi to get drenched. When she turned around, she quickly ran to Chu Mengyao to get some water for her. As she did so, she said, "Oh, it's raining in the operating room too. Sister Yao, you're so awesome." Chu Mengyao hadn't expected Chen Yushu to still be in the mood for teasing. She glared at her and said unhappily, "Why don't you drench yourself to death?" "Oh, I don't mind you." "It's okay," Chen Yushu said nonchalantly. "Look, Sister Yao, you got me all over it too." "Xiaoshu, no need to take it." Lin Yi shook off the unhealthy thoughts in his head and said to Chen Yushu. "Oh? No need." Chen Yushu was stunned. "Yet," Lin Yi said with a wry smile. "I was going to take it out and test the poison inside, but now it's easier. I'll just eat it. I already know what the poison is." Lin Yi didn't think he had any perverted tendencies or hobbies, but when he said this, there was no trace of disgust. Was it because she was a young lady? Or was it because he still had intentions towards her? Chu Mengyao heard that Lin Yi had actually eaten it, and she wanted to find a hole to crawl into. It's over. It's really over now. Why was she so useless? Could she just hold it in a little longer and wait for Xiaoshu to come? Now, how would she face Lin Yi in the future? How would she get along with him? Wow, Brother Wrigley is amazing. He knew what the poison was just from one taste. Hearing that she didn't need to take it, Chen Yushu casually threw the disposable cup on the ground. With a plop, the urine inside splashed all over the floor. Chu Mengyao was speechless. Could Xiaoshu be more clean? Why was this thing just thrown around? But when she thought about how she had soaked the entire operating room bed, floor, and wall, she understood Xiaoshu's actions. Since it didn't matter where she put it, she might as well just leave it on the floor. "I'll be out first." Yao should be fine. Lin Yi noticed Chu Mengyao's embarrassment and decided to leave the operating room first. "Xiaoshu, wait until Yao has rested and then help her get dressed." "Oh, okay," Chen Yushu nodded. Chu Mengyao wanted to say thank you, but the words wouldn't come out. She really didn't know how to face Lin Yi. She really didn't know. Lin Yi wiped his wet hair. Thankfully, there wasn't any odor. Otherwise, he'd be embarrassed after leaving. He opened the operating room door and quickly slipped out, closing it before Chu Pengzhan, Guan Zumin, and the others could get a good look inside. In reality, even if they could see clearly, they wouldn't be able to see Chu Mengyao. There was a screen next to the bed in the operating room. Xiao Yi, Chu Pengzhan and Guan Zumin came forward at the same time, looking at Lin Yi expectantly. "Uncle Chu, Yao is fine. Xiaoshu will stay with her for a while and she'll be out soon." Lin Yi knew what he was thinking and spoke to him without waiting for Chu Pengzhan to ask. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 681 Poison Prescription. Great, that's great. Chu Pengzhan was so overjoyed after hearing Lin Yi's words that he wanted to rush into the operating room, but Lin Yi stopped him. Although Chu Pengzhan and Chu Mengyao were father and daughter, Chu Mengyao was already grown up, and it would be inappropriate for Chu Pengzhan to see her without clothes. Most importantly, Chu Pengzhan would surely know that he had also seen Yao without clothes. Uncle Chu, please don't go in yet. Yao is still a little weak. Why don't you wait for her at the operating room door? Lin Yi said. I'm so sorry, I was so reckless. Chu Pengzhan nodded quickly and stopped. Miracle doctor, have you cured Chu Mengyao? Can you take a look at my child now? Yes, miracle doctor, please, can you help now? The parents were overjoyed when they heard Lin Yi say that Chu Mengyao was fine. Before, when he spoke to Chu Pengzhan, the parents were afraid of angering Lin Yi and didn't dare to interrupt. Only after seeing Lin Yi finish his words did they ask. Lin Yi glanced at the parents and could understand their feelings, but he really didn't have time to perform acupuncture and detoxification on each child one by one. Not only would he be exhausted, but there were also female students here, and Lin Yi wasn't familiar with them. It wouldn't be appropriate to ask everyone to strip naked, right? Besides, getting piss all over them would be disgusting. Lin Yi had no ill feelings towards the eldest daughter, but he felt bad for the others. I'll help them, but the antidote's out. I need to talk to Grandpa Guan about making some, Lin Yi said to the parents, then said to Guan Zumin, Grandpa Guan, let's talk somewhere less crowded. Lin Yi's words were half-truths, and the parents couldn't help but believe them. They were delighted to hear that Lin Yi was willing to help their children, but they were still a little worried when they heard the antidote was gone. But since Lin Yi had promised to make some, he probably wouldn't lie. Great, Guan Zumin was overjoyed. Lin Yi probably already knew how to detoxify the patient, but he couldn't bring himself to tell the story in front of the parents gathered at the operating room entrance. Lin Yi and Guan Zumin arrived at the isolation room where Chu Mengyao had originally been. Lin Yi closed the door and told Guan Zumin, it's indeed a rare poison, called 7 Herbs Death Powder. The antidote was lost during the Ming Dynasty, but the Tang clan in the late Qing Dynasty collected it and reconstituted it. While the detoxification effect isn't immediate, increasing the dosage will completely cure the poison within 3 days. After a month of recuperation, the patient can return to normal. Lin Yi didn't waste any time, simply unleashing his knowledge. Oh? 7 Herbs Death Powder, Guan Zumin's eyes widened in surprise. Who still knows the recipe for this poison? In Guan Zumin's opinion, 7 Herbs Death Powder was already a legendary existence. Not only had the antidote been lost, but even the recipe itself had long since disappeared. And Lin Yi knew not only the poison recipe, but also the antidote? Oh, most people don't know, but some ancient medical families should know, Lin Yi said lightly. As for the antidote, I'm afraid they don't know either. After hearing this, Guan Zumin couldn't help but feel moved. Shall we start preparing the antidote now? Well, I'll write down the recipe for both the poison and the antidote for you later. Lin Yi said, you can provide the poison recipe directly to the police, but don't spread the antidote recipe. You go to get the medicine yourself and then go to Fatty Lie's pharmaceutical factory to purify it. Try to get the antidote out by tomorrow morning. Those students can at least hold out until tomorrow night, but I can't say how long it will take. Guan Zumin didn't expect Lin Yi to write down the recipe for the poison and the antidote directly to him. Guan Zumin was a little flattered. What a great trust this requires. The recipe for this ancient and unique poison, 7 Herbs Death Powder, is already rare, and Lin Yi actually has a matching antidote. For a medical student, it is simply a priceless treasure. Okay, I will definitely get it done, Guan Zumin nodded solemnly. This is a great opportunity to hype up the company. Talk to Fatty Lie and see if he has any good ideas. Lin Yi thought he could use the antidote to hype up Dr. Guan's company, but the specifics of how to do it weren't Lin Yi's forte. Fatty Lie would have to handle it. Haha, Fatty Lie is good at it. I'll talk to him, Dr. Guan nodded. Lin Yi said nothing more. He wrote down the prescription and gave it to Guan Zumin before leaving the isolation room. Meanwhile, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu had already left the operating room and were talking to Chu Pengzhan. Chu Mengyao seemed in good spirits. The young lady, upon seeing Lin Yi, turned away with a cold gaze and ignored him. Chu Mengyao felt guilty. She really wanted to say thank you to Lin Yi, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Having Lin Yi look at her and touch her before was one thing, but then he urinated all over her face and body. How could Chu Mengyao face Lin Yi again as if nothing had happened? In her own heart, she probably couldn't get over this. Lin Yi probably guessed what the eldest lady was thinking, and didn't talk to her, so as not to embarrass her. But Chen Yashi was excitedly talking to Chu Pengzhan about how great brother Arrow was and how strong sister Yao was. But Chen Yashi was not one to act stupid in front of everyone, and she didn't say a word about Chu Mengyao stripping naked and peeing on Lin Yi's face. Zai, thank you so much this time. Chu Pengzhan saw Lin Yi coming over, walked over excitedly, and patted his shoulder excitedly. If it weren't for you, Yao, she. Oh, Uncle Chu, this is what I should do. Lin Yi smiled, without taking credit for himself. Besides, I didn't treat Yao as an outsider. Okay, Chu Pengzhan nodded. In that case, Zai, you will be a member of our Chu family in the future, and you will have half of my family business in the future. The parents and others were shocked after hearing what Chu Pengzhan said. They didn't expect Chu Pengzhan to say that, but they also thought that perhaps because Lin Yi saved Chu Mengyao's life, Chu Pengzhan was very happy and made a promise to Lin Yi. Chu Mengyao looked at her father in surprise. She didn't expect her father to give away half of the family property with just a word. Although Chu Mengyao didn't feel bad, because it was Lin Yi who gave it to her, she felt that it was worth it. But why was her father so good to Lin Yi? Chapter 682 Tragedy on Xuanyuan. Lin Yi didn't think much of it and just shrugged. With Zi Guangbo's shares in his hands, he was already the second largest shareholder of Pengzhan Group. Chu Pengzhan seemed to have thought of this as well and felt a little embarrassed. He had overlooked the fact that Lin Yi was also a shareholder, but when he thought about it carefully, Lin Yi really didn't need his family property. However, seeing that Lin Yi didn't have any special expression, Chu Pengzhan was relieved. Lin Yi didn't want to deal with these parents here. After making sure that Chu Mengyao was okay, he said to Chu Pengzhan, Uncle Chu, I'm going to go out for a while. I'll come back after Grandpa Guan comes back. Okay, then you go ahead. Chu Pengzhan nodded. Lin Yi planned to go see Tang Yun. After what happened today, Lin Yi felt that he was a little sorry for Tang Yun. His relationship with the eldest lady would become more and more complicated. Chu Mengyao watched Lin Yi's retreating figure, wanting to say something but remaining silent, her expression still impassive. At the entrance of Songshan First People's Hospital, Xuanyuan, whose kidney had been removed, was rushed to the emergency room. While the hospital was providing emergency care for Xuanyuan, they also quickly called the police. The police had already informed the hospital that any further cases of kidney harvesting victims were to be treated first and then contacted immediately. Songlingshan hadn't expected that another case of kidney harvesting would occur on the very day the kidney harvesting ring was dismantled. This meant they were still committing crimes today. Songlingshan quickly dispatched Liu Wangli and his team to the hospital to protect the victims and gather evidence of the ring's crimes, with the victims being the most crucial witnesses. The interrogation at the police station was relatively straightforward. The tattooed man, the ring's leader, offered little resistance and quickly confessed his crimes. He was the ring's leader, and Dr. Wang had been coerced into committing crimes by him, a promise he had made to Dr. Wang. As for where the kidneys were being sold, the tattooed man revealed that he had sold most of his kidneys to illegal organ dealers in other cities. He also provided the contact information for several of the dealers, but he made it clear that before he was arrested, he had already tipped off the dealers, and now they were all gone, making it impossible to apprehend them. Songlingshan was frustrated by the tattooed man's singleness and his self-righteous attitude. Following the clues he provided, the police tracked down the dealers, but they had already vanished. He explained that they had used fake names during the transactions and had never met in person, leaving the police with no useful leads. Songlingshan was furious, but helpless. Fortunately, the case against the kidney harvesting ring was closed. As for the dealers, they weren't local, so the police there had their own concerns. Songlingshan didn't bother with them. When Xuanyuan woke up, he found himself lying in an unfamiliar place, seemingly a hospital ward. Immediately, he felt a sharp pain in his left side. He tried to reach out, but he had no strength. The anesthetic had just worn off, but his strength hadn't returned yet. Where am I? Is anyone here? Xuanyuan suddenly cried out, panicking. The anesthetic had just worn off, and Xuanyuan's mind was still hazy. unable to recall much of what had happened. "Sir, are you awake?" One of Liu Wangli's men, Zhang Zhili, approached and said, "I'm Zhang Zhili from the 1st Criminal Investigation Squadron of the Municipal Police Department." And Xuanyuan was slightly startled. How had he summoned the police? "Sir, I have some very unfortunate news. Your left kidney has been removed by a criminal gang," Zhang Zhili said, looking at Xuanyuan sympathetically. "Huh?" And Xuanyuan's eyes widened. "What? His own kidney? How could that be? The kidney harvesting gang was his own. Who would dare to remove their own kidney? Wait, Lin Yi." And Xuanyuan suddenly thought of Lin Yi, and the scene flashed back to him. In the operating room, Lin Yi suddenly woke up and knocked himself unconscious. Could it be that Dr. Wang didn't recognize him? Did he mistake him for Lin Yi and remove his kidney? And Xuanyuan wanted to cry. What the hell was going on? He'd had his kidney removed. This was truly a case of being smart for a lifetime and then being foolish for a moment. The leader of a kidney-sucking ring had his kidney removed. If this got out, wouldn't everyone laugh? And Xuanyuan wanted to call the tattooed man right away to inquire about the situation, but because the police were there, he couldn't call directly. Although he was anxious, he could only patiently say, "Comrade police officer, what are you doing? I'm the captain, sent here to protect you," Zhang Zhili said, "but don't worry. The kidney-sucking ring has been dismantled by our police. You're safe now." "Huh? Dismantled?" And Xuanyuan suddenly felt dizzy. The kidney-sucking ring was dismantled? How could it be possible? How could it be dismantled? "Sir, you don't have to be afraid," Zhang Zhili thought, and Xuanyuan was scared, so he hurriedly said, "From the current point of view, the main members of the criminal gang have been arrested, but in order to prevent the remnants of the kidney harvesting group from doing anything harmful to you, we will protect your safety in the hospital 24 hours a day." And Xuanyuan rolled his eyes and fainted. His kidney was removed, and the kidney harvesting group was smashed. How could Xuanyuan not faint? "Sir, what's wrong with you?" Zhang Zhili was shocked. He thought that Xuanyuan was physically exhausted. He quickly pressed the call button to notify the doctor and called a doctor to rescue Xuanyuan. After the chance encounter in the bookstore, Kang Xiaoming knew Guanxin, but because of Lin Yi's appearance, he lost face, which made Kang Xiaoming very unhappy, but he had no way. This afternoon, Kang Xiaoming arrived at the first hospital with a bouquet of flowers. However, he didn't go directly to Guanxin. Instead, he walked around the hospital several times, letting everyone see him, even Guanxin in her office, and created a chance encounter. "What a coincidence, Guanxin, you're here," Kang Xiaoming greeted her with a smile. Coincidence? Guanxin frowned. She really didn't like Kang Xiaoming. Just now, when Kang Xiaoming was walking around the corridor, Guanxin noticed him, but Guanxin was too lazy to pay attention to him. She didn't expect him to come to her again, pretending to meet by chance. Chapter 683, Unfavorable Start. Yeah, Kang Xiaoming saw Guanxin's expression and knew she'd misunderstood him, thinking he was just wandering around the hospital to create a chance encounter. So he quickly said, "I came to see a friend today. He's hospitalized here, but I couldn't find him. I just called and found out he's been discharged. I was wondering why I couldn't find him." "Oh, so that's the case. Then go visit your friend. I have to go back to work." Guanxin clearly didn't want to talk to Kang Xiaoming anymore. "Yes, I'm going right away. By the way, here are some flowers for you. I can't really move them around." Kang Xiaoming handed the flowers to Guanxin. "You're seeing a patient, buying red roses." Guanxin wasn't stupid. How could she believe Kang Xiaoming's nonsense? "Oh, it's a female patient," Kang Xiaoming said, startled, but quick-witted, quickly correcting himself. "A female patient buying red roses? Is she your girlfriend?" Guanxin smiled and said. "Huh?" Kang Xiaoming didn't expect that Guanxin looked very docile, but she could always find loopholes in her words when she spoke. It was like this before in the bookstore, and it is still like this now. It seems that this girl is not easy to seduce. It's a bit difficult. She is not a girlfriend at all. She is my buddy's girlfriend. I actually sent these flowers on his behalf," Kang Xiaoming said with an idea. Actually it's like this. My buddy had a quarrel with his girlfriend, and ended up making his girlfriend angry and run out of the house. She was frozen outside all night and caught a cold and was hospitalized. My buddy wanted to admit his mistake, but he couldn't let go of his face, so he asked me to apologize on his behalf. But I didn't expect that they had reconciled after a phone call just now. I made a wasted trip. After Kang Xiaoming finished speaking, he felt that his excuse was very powerful. He was really a genius. Oh, since you don't need the flowers anymore, I'll put them in the vase in the hospital for you. Guanxin knew that if she didn't accept the flowers, Kang Xiaoming would never stop pestering her, so she took the roses from Kang Xiaoming, but after taking them, she put them in the vase in the hospital corridor. Kang Xiaoming saw that things had come to this point and there was nothing he could do. He could only say angrily, that's right, it looks beautiful here too. Guanxin, I'll be leaving first. Keep in touch when you have time, goodbye. Guanxin nodded and turned back to the office. Guanxin felt that she really shouldn't have gone out to the bathroom. She ran into Kang Xiaoming, this annoying guy who was so tedious. Kang Xiaoming sighed and felt that he should change his pursuit strategy. Guanxin seemed different from those ordinary girls. Based on Kang Xiaoming's previous experience, girls who had never had boyfriends were very simple and easy to get along with, but he hit a wall with Guanxin. After Kang Xiaoming left, Li Xiaoming, enters close to Guanxin, glanced at the roses in the hallway and curled her lips. He's so rich. 99 roses would cost at least 300 yuan, and he just threw them away. It's his money anyway, what does it have to do with us? Guanxin smiled. Why, you like him? I'll introduce him to you, forget it. I dream of being with a rich man, but he's clearly not my type. He's a playboy, and he'll probably just dump women after having fun. How could I possibly give myself to him? Li Xiaoming was clearly dismissive of Kang Xiaoming. Li Xiaoming had some self-awareness. While she was pretty, she was still a far cry from Guanxin. She knew she wouldn't be the type of person this playboy would be interested in. Rather than being played for nothing, she'd rather find a wealthy man who could provide for her for the rest of her life. Guanxin neither agreed nor disagreed with Li Xiaoming's dream. Everyone has their own life, and it was normal for Li Xiaoming, from a poor family, to want to find a lifelong livelihood. If she wanted to find someone she truly loved, that was her freedom. So, since even you can see he's not a good person, how could I still accept his flowers? Guanxin shook her head. Okay, let's get to work. The head nurse is coming soon, and it's time to get scolded. You're a rich girl, who dare scold you? Do you still want to hang around here? Li Xiaoming and Guanxin had been classmates in school, so she knew something about Guanxin's family background. She knew her father was a major shareholder in the hospital, and her grandfather was the renowned Dr. Guanzuman. Haha, no one knows who I am, and even if they did, it's hard to get any special treatment, Guanxin said, and got busy. If you don't want a bonus, just keep staring blankly. Okay, I'm coming. Li Xiaoming hurriedly followed Guanxin and started working. Until I find a rich guy, I still care about the bonus. Kang Xiaoming walked out of the hospital depressed and got into Porsche Cayenne. His two lackeys, Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin, were also in the car. Mr. Ming, how's it going? Did you give out the flowers? Zhu Xiaozhang asked. Xiaozhang, aren't you asking even though you already know the answer? Didn't you see that young Master Ming came back empty-handed? He must have given the flowers away, Wang Shubin said. Fuck, don't mention it, it was a fucking failure again. Kang Xiaoming waved his hand unhappily and sat in the co-pilot's seat. What's the matter, young Master Ming? Your flowers. Zhu Xiaozhang was stunned when he saw Kang Xiaoming cursing. The flowers were given away, to the hospital, Kang Xiaoming said very unhappily. It's not easy to hook this chick. She's such a cunning person. She looks gentle, but she's actually very smart. Damn it, I sent her back and put the flowers directly in the vase in the hospital corridor. Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin looked at each other in surprise after hearing this. They thought that Kang Xiaoming would be able to catch the flowers easily, but they didn't expect that he would fail twice in a row. Next time, it seems I have to find a different way to approach her. This chance encounter is too cheap to fool her. Kang Xiaoming waved his hand and said, let's study it and see if there's any good way. Let's brainstorm and come up with an idea. Didn't we use money to pick up girls in the past? Zhu Xiaozhang pondered, but couldn't come up with any good countermeasures. He was usually arrogant and quick to act, so many gold diggers were involved with him. Stupid, Guanxin is obviously not a gold digger. Her family is rich and she is not short of money at all. Those tricks before are useless. Kang Xiaoming glared at Zhu Xiaozhang with some dissatisfaction. Can't you say something constructive? Chapter 684 Vest Brother. Brother Ming, I do have an idea. Wang Shubin, who had been silent, spoke up at this time, but my idea will probably require you, Brother Ming, to suffer a little. Oh? You have an idea? Tell me quickly. If it really works, I'm okay with suffering a little. Although Kang Xiaoming didn't like suffering, in his opinion, picking up girls was a matter of enjoyment and it was better to be refreshing. If he suffered, what was the point of picking up girls? Would that be asking for trouble? He would rather not pick up girls. After all, there were so many targets, and it's not like he didn't have women. But Guanxin was different. Kang Xiaoming's current task was to seduce Guanxin and get the secret recipe of Guanshenya Pharmaceutical Group. Whether he could occupy a favorable position in the family in the future depended on this. Although Kang Xiaoming didn't show much hostility towards him now, he also knew that if he remained useless, Kang Xiaolong would definitely not give him a good face after his grandfather died. Ming Xiao, think about it, Guanxin is a nurse at the first hospital, right? Wang Shubin began to analyze. Aren't you just asking nonsense? You're asking even though you already know the answer. Kang Xiaoming was a little annoyed. Of course she's a nurse at the first hospital. Didn't I tell you that, young Master Ming? Listen to me, Wang Shubin said. Guanxin is a nurse at the first hospital. So, who does she interact with the most? Doctor. Kang Xiaoming thought for a moment and said, damn, you don't want me to become a doctor, do you? I'm not interested in that, young Master Ming. How can becoming a doctor be achieved overnight? Wang Shubin said with a wry smile. Such a bad idea, not something Wang Shubin, the military advisor, would come up with. Oh? So what do you mean? Kang Xiaoming was relieved to hear that he wasn't asking him to become a doctor. Patients. Nurses naturally interact with patients the most every day, so I mean, young Master Ming, you're going to be the patient, Wang Shubin said. You want me to pretend to be sick so I can get close to Guanxin? Kang Xiaoming's eyes suddenly lit up. What a great idea. Why hadn't he thought of it before? If he became a patient, wouldn't he be able to have legitimate contact with Guanxin every day? Pretending to be sick is definitely not an option. Like you said, Guanxin is not stupid. If you're pretending to be sick, she'll be able to tell at a glance, right? Wang Shubin waved his hand and said, if you want to be sick, you have to be really sick. That's why I said I have to suffer a little, real illness. Yes, that's an idea. Kang Xiaoming nodded. Then how do you say I should get sick? Generally speaking, ordinary fevers and colds can also be hospitalized. As long as you are willing to spend money, there is no reason for the hospital to refuse, right? Wang Shubin thought for a while and said, okay, then let's have a fever and a cold. That's easier. Other diseases, even if you want to, are not easy to get. Kang Xiaoming also felt that only after being hospitalized could he have legitimate contact with Guanxin, but, I'm afraid it's not easy to catch a cold today, right? Kang Xiaoming looked at the sunny day outside the car window. The weather in April was already very hot, and it didn't seem easy to catch a cold. So what do you mean by endure a little hardship? Wang Shubin said, I know there's an ice hockey rink nearby. Why don't we go sit there, Mr. Ming? Okay, Kang Xiaoming gritted his teeth. For the sake of picking up girls and for the sake of his family's status, he endured it. This time he had to succeed, so what did it matter if he endured a little hardship? So, Kang Xiaoming and his group came to the ice hockey arena in a mighty manner, and walked into the ice rink under the extremely surprised gazes of everyone. Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin were both wearing thick warm ice hockey uniforms, while Kang Xiaoming was wearing a short-sleeved vest and shorts, sitting in the audience with gritted teeth. Oh my god, what a macho man! People in the ice hockey rink couldn't help but sigh when they saw Kang Xiaoming's outfit. Isn't he awesome? He's simply the best brother. A little girl took out her mobile phone, ready to take a picture of Kang Xiaoming and post it online. A new generation of brother was born. Kang Xiaoming was shivering with cold, but when he heard the people inside the rink expressing their amazement and praise, his vanity was instantly satisfied, and he even struck a pose with a girl taking the photo. Look at him, he's in such good shape, wearing a tank top and shorts. A man with glasses said enviously, we can't do that. We've had too many women, and our bodies are weak. We can't handle the cold. Kang Xiaoming was so proud, thinking, I've had my fair share of women, but look at me, I'm a legend. Kang Xiaoming was feeling proud when he suddenly felt a chill and sneezed. The expression of the little girl taking pictures with her mobile phone suddenly became interesting. It seemed that the Vest brother was about to become the pretentious brother or the idiot brother. As for the man with the glasses, he looked at Kang Xiaoming with sympathy and said, "Brother, you are not as good as me. I didn't sneeze even though I was so weak. You are too bad, aren't you?" Kang Xiaoming was immediately ashamed and angry. His face flushed, but he couldn't refute it. Zhu Xiaozhang, on the other hand, couldn't stand it anymore. He stood up and pointed at those who were talking, and shouted arrogantly, "Look at you, motherfuckers, have you never seen Cultivation? Young Master Ming came here to practice, and you guys don't know shit. Cultivation? Running here to practice with snot bubbles? Are you crazy?" Those people shook their heads speechlessly and ignored Kang Xiaoming. Although Kang Xiaoming lost face, he thought of his plan to pick up girls and had to stick to it. He couldn't give up halfway. He had to practice until he caught a cold. A sneeze, Kang Xiaoming sneezed again. Led by Can Lang, the Songshan city media was almost one-sided, all attacking First High School, practically describing it as a terrifying, demonic high school. In fact, after Can Lang's interview, Chu Pengzhan and Ding Binggong hadn't appeared in front of any media since then. Even if the media wanted to enter the hospital's emergency room, they wouldn't be granted access. Therefore, these news outlets were unaware of the latest developments. To avoid being left behind, they had no choice but to repost Can Lang's article, revising it and republishing it. Television stations also did special reports on the incident, prompting parents at Songshan City First High School to consider transferring their children to other schools. Chapter 685 Press Conference. After all, the power of the media is terrifying, capable of influencing many who are unaware of the truth, and these individuals would rather believe it than not. Given such a horrible school, who would dare let their children continue studying there? However, at this tense moment, Li Chang'ai, the president of Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company, urgently convened a press conference. Since its founding, Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company has been the focus of media and public opinion. Although its product, Guanshenye Trauma Medicine, has not yet been officially released, its reputation is already resounding. The reason is simple. News of Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company's success at the Yanjingyu family auction initially circulated only among aristocratic families and wealthy merchants, but it quickly spread to the pervasive media, which began to report on the company. There were even some outlandish rumors, such as Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company mastering the technology to revive the dead, and these, of course, were derived from the longevity and detoxification pill. However, Fatty Lai didn't bother to refute the rumors. He believed the reports were a mix of true and false gossip. By hyping them up, he saved himself the trouble of advertising and instead hyped up the reputation of Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company. Consequently, Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company held an emergency press conference, and upon receiving the news, all major media outlets in Songshan City immediately dispatched reporters to the event. While media attention was currently focused on the mass coma incident involving students from First High School, Guanshenye Pharmaceutical's press conference was equally crucial. Those media outlets that hadn't taken advantage of the coma incident focused their attention on this press conference, hoping to obtain first-hand information. The press conference took place in Fatty Lai's newly constructed building, which would serve as Guanshenye Pharmaceutical's headquarters. Fatty Lai had also donated the building and trading company downstairs, which were merged into Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company. The construction company would be responsible for the pharmaceutical company's factory, while the trading company would handle the sales of the manufactured drugs. What was given away in one go was Fatty Lai's entire fortune. Fatty Lai's wife was a little reluctant, but Fatty Lai didn't care about women's opinions at all. In his opinion, his wife was just a bunch of idiots with limited knowledge. This was just the beginning. Following Lin Yi in the future, what more could he want? Lin Yi's medical skills were so superb that it was no exaggeration to say he could bring the dead back to life. As his younger brother, Fatty Lai, how could he not benefit? Looking at the packed press seats, Fatty Lai felt an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. When he was running his own company, he probably had to spend some money to attract reporters to the press conference, and the number was only 1/3 of what it is now. But now he didn't have to invest anything. He just released a piece of news, and these reporters came. There was no other way. Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company's products hadn't even been launched on the market, but it already had a reputation. Thank you all, journalists, for attending Guanshen Medical's press conference. I'm Li Chang'ai. Fatty Lai walked onto the stage with a smile and announced. The main topic of this press conference is about the mass coma incident among the students at number 1 high school. If you're here for our new product, you're probably going to be disappointed. The reporters in the audience were stunned by Fatty Lai's words. Why was Guanshen Medical holding a press conference about the coma incident involving the students at number 1 high school? If there was to be a press conference, it should have been held by number 1 high school or Pengzhan Group, right? The police could have explained it, but Guanshen Medical, the only company with no connection to the incident, was holding a press conference here to announce news related to the mass coma incident at number 1 high school. This struck the reporters as odd. However, despite the oddity, they were still very excited. Far from being disappointed, they were actually glad they had come at the right time. The mass coma incident at number 1 high school was the headline news story, with every media outlet eager to uncover the truth. And Fatty Lai's press conference was actually related to it. How could they not be delighted? First of all, I want to say that the rumors circulating in society are not entirely true. The story of a terrifying campus with an unknown virus and biochemical base is complete nonsense. Fatty Lai knew about Lin Yi and Miss Chu's relationship, so he held this press conference not only to build momentum for his Guanshen medical company, but also to restore the reputation of number 1 high school. Fatty Lai's words immediately embarrassed the reporters in the audience. They had also published reports about a terrifying campus with an unknown virus and biochemical base, but they were just following the trend. Fatty Lai completely denied them, which perked them up. After clinical research and analysis by our Guanshen medical company, we've found the cause of the student's coma and confirmed it was poisoning. Fatty Lai's words shocked the reporters present. Did the hospital say it wasn't poisoning? And they can't find the cause of the coma? A reporter in the audience couldn't help but ask. Indeed, if we use ordinary methods, we can't find out if they are poisoned, because the poison these students are poisoned with is a very rare and ancient poison. Fatty Lai said, everyone knows that a Guanshen pharmaceutical company is a company dedicated to pharmaceutical research and development. Both in terms of R&D capabilities and expert team, it is at the international advanced level. So after the unremitting efforts of our expert team, we finally analyzed that this ancient poison is a potent poison made up of 7 Chinese herbal medicines. It is called cacao jamingsan, a poison that has been lost for thousands of years. After taking this poison, it can be quickly absorbed by the body and then destroy the human body's physiological functions. If you don't get help in time, you will die within 3 days at the latest. And this poison is made of pure Chinese herbal medicine. It is difficult to detect it using conventional chemical methods. That's why the hospital didn't check it out before. Because the taste of many Chinese herbal medicines is similar to that of seasonings, it will not arouse suspicion. This poison was also discovered by Lin Yi himself, so Fatty Lai's so-called expert team and unremitting research are actually complete nonsense. He is just trying to create momentum for the pharmaceutical company. However, the reporters don't know these things, and Lin Yi doesn't care about these reputations, so Fatty Lai used it to hype the company. Chapter 686 Fatty Lai takes advantage of the situation. 7 herbs death powder, a rare poison, can't detect it? It's similar to seasoning, the reporters exclaimed in surprise. Fatty Lai's statement was a bit too unbelievable, and they were temporarily unable to accept it. This is too mysterious, right? The rarest poison in history has been created? Is it true? If it is a rare poison in history, how come others don't know about it? How did you research and analyze it? A reporter began to ask questions. This reporter was in the same group as Canlang and was Canlang's subordinate. Canlang was busy following up on the reports of the coma incident, and Canlang's subordinates attended the press conference. Haha, I've already said it. This ancient poison has been lost. In other words, no one knows the recipe anymore, and only a few key ingredients are recorded in ancient texts. Fatty Lai started to ramble again. We only identified 7 herbs after analyzing them, and then compared them with those key ingredients before we finally determined it was the lost 7 herbs death powder. Oh? Then what are these 7 herbs? If it's lost, how could someone poison someone? Little Canlang, naturally unwilling to change the direction of public opinion, began to pepper the room with pointed questions. I'm sorry, but I can't share the recipe. One reason is that it involves our company's confidentiality policy, and the other is that if we make the formula public, what if it's used by someone with ulterior motives? Fatty Lai smiled, but we've already submitted the recipe to the Songshan city police. As for why someone would poison someone after it's been lost, that's a matter for the police to investigate. We're just a pharmaceutical company, and that's not within our scope of business. Fatty Lie's words drew laughter from the reporters in the audience, but little Canlang was furious. He immediately asked anxiously, "Are you guys just making up a poison for fame? Calling it an age-old poison is just an excuse to exonerate First High School and build momentum for yourselves. Can you actually cure this age-old poison? If not, what's the point of creating a recipe? Who knows if it's real?" Though Canlang's words were blunt, they echoed the concerns of many reporters present. They too had their doubts about the 7 herbs death powder's authenticity. After all, this matter was truly bizarre, beyond the realm of normal understanding. An age-old poison seemed too far removed from real life, so Canlang's question, though somewhat blunt, did reflect the sentiments of some. Haha, if it's an age-old poison, and the recipe has been lost, how can there be an antidote? Fatty Lie smiled, then paused deliberately. So, are you admitting you're exploiting this opportunity to hype it up? Canlang's eyes lit up, and he continued his question. I didn't say that. I just said that since there's no recipe for the poison in the ancient texts, there naturally isn't an antidote either. Fatty Lie put on a calming expression and continued, however, although there's no ready-made antidote, after the tireless efforts of our team of experts at Guanshen Pharmaceutical Company and numerous experiments, we've finally formulated an antidote for Kikao Juming powder. The factory is currently working overtime to create the antidote, and it should be ready for mass production by tomorrow morning for use on the comatose students. Wow, even the reporters, including Canlang, were in an uproar. They'd really formulated an antidote? This wasn't just hype. A strange coma that even the hospital couldn't treat was diagnosed by Guanshen Pharmaceutical Company as an ancient poison. Not only that, but they'd even formulated an antidote. This Guanshen Pharmaceutical Company was truly as incredible as the rumors said. Of course, this antidote is not a product sold by our company, but an antidote specially made for this poisoning incident, and we don't plan to charge a penny for it. Fatty Lie said, we are giving it to the unconscious students free of charge. This is also the social responsibility of every pharmaceutical company. Making money is secondary, saving people is the top priority. Fatty Lie's words could not help but make the reporters present stand in awe. This is really a kind-hearted pharmaceutical company. If it were some more unscrupulous companies, not only would they not give it away for free, but they would raise the price and sell this batch of antidotes to Pengzhan Group at a sky-high price. Everyone knows that if this incident cannot be resolved, the one that will be most affected will naturally be the #1 high school under Pengzhan Group. If Guanshen Pharmaceutical Company takes this opportunity to raise the price of the drug, it will not be difficult to make a considerable profit. Next, I'll announce our new product, Guanshen Doctor's Trauma Medicine, its efficacy and launch date. After discussing the poisoning incident, Fatty Lie naturally took the opportunity to promote his company's products. The reporters listened carefully to Fatty Lie's introduction, preparing to report on the incident after returning. After Guanshen Doctor's press conference, the situation shifted dramatically, and the previous direction of public opinion began to reverse. While the media condemned the poisoner, they also expressed sympathy for #1 high school and highly praised Guanshen Doctor's company. Even Canlang was helpless. Although he had accepted Li Chihua's money, he couldn't go against the tide, could he? Now that the truth was out, everyone was condemning the murderer and praising Guanshen Doctor's company. Canlang couldn't continue to criticize #1 high school, could he? Even the newspaper's editor-in-chief asked him to draft a draft that would simultaneously deny the previous draft and condemn the murderer and praise Guanshen Doctor's company. After all, he couldn't go against the mainstream media, could he? That would be a bad outcome. Canlang had no choice but to call Li Chihua. Brother Chihua, this is Canlang, Canlang said with a guilty conscience. I tried my best to discredit #1 high school and Pengzhan Group before, but there is no way. That Guanshen Pharmaceutical Company is too powerful. They actually found out the reason why the student was in a coma, saying that he was poisoned by some 7 herbs death powder, and they even prepared an antidote. I can't lie with my eyes open anymore. What? Li Chihua was shocked after hearing what Canlang said. What did you say? Guanshen Pharmaceutical Company found out the reason why the student was in a coma? And they even prepared an antidote. Yeah, Brother Chihua, what should I do now? I didn't complete the task you assigned to me, so I got the money. Canlang didn't want to return the money. After all, he had done a lot of things before. Who knew that Guanshen Pharmaceutical Company would interfere? Chapter 687 Regaining Confidence. Here's the money. Li Shihu didn't have time to waste on talking to Canling. He slammed his phone aside and rushed to find Bing Xiao. He had to tell Bing Xiao the news as soon as possible. This matter had already spread in the media, but ordinary people were still unaware of it. Because it takes time for the media to write and publish, the media is still in the preparation stage and has not yet released the news. The TV station is also working overtime to edit the press conference, ready to broadcast it as soon as possible. Li Qihu stumbled into Bing Xiao's room. Bing Xiao, it's bad, our plan has failed. Bing Xiao is currently lying on his bed reading very pure and very ambiguous prequel written by Yu Ren Erdai on his phone. It was a very refreshing urban book. He was imagining himself as the protagonist in the book. When he was brutally torturing the supporting characters, he was interrupted by Li Qihu. He was immediately annoyed. What are you yelling about? What plan failed? Bing Xiao, Canlang just called and said that Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company has found the cause of the #1 high school student's coma. It was poisoning. They have even researched the poison. It's 7 herbs death powder, and they have prepared an antidote, Li Qihu said in panic. Impossible. Before Bing Xiao could say anything, Yao Wang spoke first. 7 herbs death powder is an ancient poison. There is no antidote. Even I don't know what the antidote is. How could they have a recipe for an antidote? I don't know either. Canlang just gave me the news. Li Qihu was just conveying Canlang's meaning. Turn on the TV. If that's the case, there will definitely be news on TV, young Master Bing frowned. He had heard of Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company, a company that had just been established and was gaining popularity. It had made a big splash at the Yu family auction. Could it be that they had concocted an antidote? Otherwise, how would they know that the poison was called 7 herbs death powder? After hearing what young Master Bing said, Li Qihu quickly turned on the TV. It just happened that the news about the press conference held by Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company had just begun to be broadcast. When the people in the room saw Fatty Lai talking calmly on the stage, they were all dumbfounded. Young Master Bing was so angry that he gritted his teeth. He had heard that Chu Mengyao had also been poisoned, but he was extremely happy. But in the blink of an eye, this ancient poison was broken by Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company, and an antidote had been concocted. Impossible, impossible. The Medicine King's eyes widened in disbelief. This is an ancient poison, with no antidote. Even if they knew about it, they couldn't create an antidote in such a short time. Not even that person could. The person the Medicine King was talking about was someone who had completely defeated him and was a nightmare to him. But even that person couldn't come up with an antidote in such a short time. It was absolutely impossible. However, the facts were before him, and the Medicine King couldn't help but believe it. After all, TV news wouldn't lie. If Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company didn't create an antidote but instead claimed to have, once the truth was revealed, it would be a serious blow to the company, which would be fatal to a newly established company. Hearing the Medicine King's constant rhetoric of impossible, impossible, the soldier felt annoyed and frowned, saying, "All right, since it doesn't work this time, we'll find another way." The soldier hadn't expected that the Medicine King, who looked so impressive, was actually so fragile and vulnerable. Even though his Kaibing mansion had collapsed, he didn't lose heart and was still thinking of ways to deal with Lin Yi. Of course, Bing Xiao thought so because he didn't understand the power of the 7 herbs death powder. Only the Medicine King himself knew how terrifying and powerful the 7 herbs death powder was. He thought that this time the poison was a sure thing, because even he didn't have an antidote for this poison, let alone those ordinary hospitals. He never thought that Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company could formulate an antidote for the 7 herbs death powder. He really didn't believe it, but the facts made him believe it. After all, the other party really found out the cause of the student's coma and pointed out the name of the poison, 7 herbs death powder. In other words, the other party also had some understanding of this poison, and the antidote was naturally real. Otherwise, no company would joke about its own future. Whether the poison can be cured or not has nothing to do with Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company. If they can't cure it, why would they take on this job? It seems that the other party's medical skills are not weak. Dr. Guan Zuman. Before, the Medicine King hadn't taken Guan Zuman seriously. Although he was revered as a miracle doctor by the 4 great families and the 5 lesser ones, even those hidden families had their own doctors. The Medicine King was one of them. But now, the Medicine King had to take Guan Zuman seriously. It seemed he was truly capable. Guan Zuman, I'll remember you. I'll give you a run for your money. As the news was broadcast, Gao Xiaofu also learned the news. He was also sent home from school. After returning home, Gao Xiaofu felt a mixture of fear and excitement, the kind of excitement that comes from having done something bad. This was the first time he'd done something so evil, poisoning someone. When he saw the ambulance whisking 28 students out of the school, followed by notices of critical illness from the hospital, he felt an inexplicable sense of pleasure. But afterward, he was filled with deep worry. After all, those were 28 lives. If they died like that, he would be the murderer. Before, the hospital couldn't find any cause, and Gao Xiaofu felt relieved. Although he was the one who poisoned these students, there was no evidence. Even the hospital couldn't give an answer. At that time, the case would probably be left unresolved. But not long after the incident, a company called Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company held a press conference. They not only found out the cause of the student's coma, but also gave the police the prescription for the 7 herbs death powder. This meant that the police would soon launch an investigation. If they found the food in the cafeteria, they would easily suspect him and Zhong Pinliang. Gao Xiaofu was really anxious now. He quickly picked up the phone and dialed Zhong Pinliang's number. He had to discuss countermeasures with Zhong Pinliang. He couldn't just wait for the police to come to him, right? Zhong Pinliang had just had a kidney transplant and was lying happily in the hospital, feeling the sunshine outside the window. He felt that life was really beautiful. Having a kidney was good. He felt that he had regained his confidence as a man. The phone rang. Zhong Pinliang picked up the phone and found that it was Gao Xiaofu calling. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 688, The Poisoning Was Exposed. Zhong Pinliang answered the phone. Xiaofu, I have good news. My kidney transplant was a success. I'll soon regain my confidence as a man. Brother Liang, bad news. The poison we used has been discovered by some Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company. They've reported it to the police. Do you think they'll find us? Gao Xiaofu couldn't even congratulate Zhong Pinliang. A deep fear filled his heart. What? They figured it out so quickly? No way. Zhong Pinliang was startled. He hadn't expected such swift action. Wasn't this 7 herbs death powder some ancient, untreatable poison that no one could break? It seems that the so-called medicine king around young Master Bing isn't very reliable either. Yet, Brother Liang, what should I do? I don't want to go to jail. Wow, I'm still pretty young? Gao Xiaofu, upon hearing Zhong Pinliang's voice, became nervous and even more frightened. It's okay, Xiaofu. I'll ask my dad. Young Master Bing has found someone to take the blame for us. Even if anything happens, it won't be implicated on you. I'll take it all on myself, Zhong Pinliang comforted Gao Xiaofu. That's good, that's good. Gao Xiaofu heaved a sigh of relief after hearing what Zhong Pinliang said. Then I don't have to do anything? If the police come to ask me, I will just say I don't know. Well, don't say anything. If they want to ask, let them ask me. Just pretend that it has nothing to do with you, Zhong Pinliang said. Okay, I understand, Gao Xiaofu said gratefully. Brother Liang is so considerate. He didn't shirk responsibility even when something happened. Zhong Pinliang hung up the phone and called his father over. Zhong Fabei was in the outer room of the ward. He had just turned on the TV and saw the news report about the collective coma of the students of the first high school. He was watching it when he was called in by Zhong Pinliang. Dad, the poisoning has been exposed. You should call Bing Xiao right away. Don't implicate me. Zhong Pinliang would be lying if he said he wasn't anxious. He was also afraid of going to jail. He had just gotten a good kidney and hadn't had time to enjoy his life yet. He didn't want his life to be ruined in jail. Xiaofu just called and said that a company called Guanshenye Pharmaceutical has found the cause of the student's coma and informed the police. I was watching the news too. Zhong Fabei nodded and said solemnly, I'll call Bing Xiao right away. Although he has made arrangements, he still needs to confirm it. Okay, Dad, don't make any mistakes. I don't want to go to jail, Zhong Pinliang reminded. No, how could I let you go to jail? Zhong Fabei waved his hand and dialed Li Shihu's number. Old Zhong. Right, Li Shihu answered Zhong Fabei's call. She knew roughly why he was calling. So without waiting for him to speak, she said, "I'll arrange for someone to surrender to the police right now. If the police come looking for Pinliang, just tell him to say this and that. Bing Xiao will take care of everything else." Li Shihu repeated to Zhang Fabei what Zhong Pinliang needed to say, and Zhang Fabei finally felt relieved. With a prescription for the 7 herbs death powder provided by Guanshenye Pharmaceutical Company, the police quickly found the content of these 7 Chinese herbs in the food. The person who poisoned the food was very clever. They only added 1 herb to each dish. While individual herbs are non-toxic, some herbs mixed together can even have aphrodisiac and kidney tonifying effects. However, when these 7 herbs are combined, they can produce a highly toxic effect. This is why only a small number of students were poisoned. After all, very few students ordered and ate all 7 dishes. The rest of the students who only ate a few of the herbs would not be poisoned. After finding the source of the poison, the police sent people to the school cafeteria to investigate. Without a doubt, they quickly identified the suspects as Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu, who had come to the cafeteria early at noon. According to the cafeteria chef, only Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu had touched the dishes in the kitchen alone, and no one else had touched them. After ruling out the possibility of the chef's motive for poisoning, the police locked their sights on Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu. Zhong Pinliang didn't expect the police to react so quickly. Before Gao Xiaofu had even hung up the phone, the police showed up. "Hello, I'm Liu Wangli, captain of the 1st Squadron of the Criminal Investigation Brigade of the Songshan City Police Department. Here are my ID." Liu Wangli quickly came over, and he was greeted by Zhong Pinliang's father, Zhang Fabei. "Hello, Officer Liu, you're finally here." "That's great." Zhang Fabei quickly and enthusiastically shook Liu Wangli's hand, which surprised Liu Wangli. He didn't understand why Zhang Fabei was so enthusiastic. He was here to arrest his son, wasn't he? Mr. Zhang, why are you so eager for me to come? Liu Wangli asked curiously. "Yes, our son, Pinliang, has become mentally disturbed and has low self-esteem ever since he was persecuted by a kidney harvesting ring and had one of his kidneys removed. I wanted to call the police, but he refused, fearing the criminals would retaliate against him." Zhang Fabei sighed and said with pity, "I really feel sorry for my son. Since you've come to my house, please persuade Pinliang to cooperate with you in bringing the criminals to justice." "Huh?" Liu Wangli was speechless after hearing Zhang Fabei's words. He had never imagined that Zhong Pinliang was also a victim of a kidney harvesting ring. It seemed that things were not as simple as he had imagined. Could there be some hidden secret? He decided to talk to Zhong Pinliang first, so he asked, "Oh, so where is Zhong Pinliang now?" "In the ward inside. He said that he suffered from the contempt and ridicule of his classmates at school. They said that he was missing a kidney and was no longer a real man. They said he was a eunuch." Zhang Fabei sighed here and said, "They also ridiculed him, saying that he sold his kidney to buy an iPad." "Officer Liu, with our family's financial situation, do we really need to sell a kidney?" Zhang Fabei, may not be rich, but at least I am the boss of an entertainment city, right? I can't afford an iPad." Liu Wangli had not expected these situations. After hearing what Zhang Fabei said, he felt a little sympathetic to Zhong Pinliang. But why did Zhong Pinliang poison people today and then be hospitalized in the hospital? He asked curiously, "Did Zhong Pinliang go to school today?" "According to our investigation, Zhong Pinliang should be at school. Why is he in the hospital again?" Chapter 689, Concealing the Truth. "Well, I haven't finished speaking yet. He's been ridiculed at school. I can't help but think that if this continues, Pinliang will be driven crazy. What if he does something that I'll regret? I only have this one son," Zhang Fabei said, "so I contacted a black intermediary and bought another kidney for Pinliang. He just had a kidney transplant and is resting inside. Another kidney was bought for him? Just had the surgery." Liu Wangli was even more surprised. Zhong Pinliang was poisoned and went for surgery right after? How fast is that? "I also know that buying and selling kidneys through black intermediaries is illegal, but you can understand my mentality. Poor parents in the world." Zhang Fabei sighed, "If you want to punish someone, punish me, but you must not let Pinliang return the kidney. He can't afford to be hurt. He has just regained his confidence as a man and wants to revitalize his life. Don't ruin his life." Liu Wangli was even more puzzled. Why did he feel more and more strange the more he listened? Was it Zhong Pinliang who poisoned him? "Just pretend I don't know about this black intermediary," But I have some other things I want to ask Zhong Pinliang. Is it possible to talk to him alone? Liu Wangli asked. As for Zhang Fabei going to a black intermediary to buy a kidney, it has already been replaced with Zhong Pinliang's. There is no point in pursuing it, and Zhong Pinliang is also a victim. Yes, of course. It's a good opportunity for you to help me persuade him, let him regain his confidence and go to school, Zhang Fabei said. Liu Wangli nodded, walked into the inner ward, and saw Zhong Pinliang lying on the bed. Zhong Pinliang naturally noticed Liu Wangli in his police uniform. He hesitated for a moment, then said with a dejected expression, "Hello, officer. If you're here to ask me to collect evidence for the kidney harvesting ring, I don't want to go. I don't want to be embarrassed anymore. I've had enough, and I don't want to be retaliated against by the ring. But if you're asking about a coma at school, I can confess that I did it, but it wasn't my intention. I really didn't anticipate such serious consequences." Zhong Pinliang's frankness stunned Liu Wangli. He hadn't expected Zhong Pinliang to be so frank the moment he entered the room. It seemed that Zhong Pinliang must have been under a great deal of psychological pressure, which was why he was so frank after his arrival. Initially, none of Liu Wangli's prepared psychological tactics worked. However, the more he thought about it, the more he felt that there was something else going on. Furthermore, out of sympathy for Zhong Pinliang, the victim, Liu Wangli didn't want a high school student like Zhong Pinliang to be imprisoned. Perhaps there was something else going on? He said that this was not his original intention, so what could it be? Zhong Pinliang, I don't know what your original intention was, but now that you have admitted that you put the poison in the cafeteria, do you know what kind of consequences you will have to bear? Intentional murder, this crime is not a small one, Liu Wangli said with a serious expression. I didn't know it was poison, I really didn't know, and I don't want to be so sorry. Sorry, Zhong Pinliang grabbed his hair in some pain and groaned in distress. You didn't know it was poison? Then tell me what's going on, Liu Wangli frowned and asked. But if I tell you, you will arrest my relative. I didn't know he gave me poison. Zhong Pinliang seemed a little embarrassed, but in fact, he told all the important clues. Liu Wangli's eyes lit up. Sure enough, there was something else going on. So, Zhong Pinliang was not the mastermind. As far as we can see now, he is also a victim? So Liu Wangli said, Zhong Pinliang, you must tell the truth now, otherwise, you are taking the blame for others, you know? If this matter really has little to do with you, considering that you are a first-time offender and now you are patient, if you make amends for your crimes, you can be given a lighter sentence or exempted from punishment. Oh, Zhong Pinliang sighed, hesitated for a long time, and then spoke. If you don't punish me, will you punish my relative? Will he be sentenced to death? If the matter really has little to do with you, your responsibility can be mitigated or exempted, but if your relative is the mastermind, then his crime will be serious. As for whether he will be sentenced to death, it depends on his attitude of admitting his mistakes and his motives for committing the crime. Of course, it will ultimately depend on the court's decision, Liu Wangli said. Well, you can find out even if I don't tell you. Zhong Pinliang nodded and began to narrate. Actually, this is what happened. It all started when I had my kidney removed. After my kidney was removed, my classmates laughed at me, and the way they looked at me became strange. Some classmates even said privately that I was no longer a complete man, but a eunuch. Some classmates even ridiculed me and said that I sold my kidney to buy an iPad. This made me lose face. I hate them. These people are so bad, they don't understand the pain in my heart at all, and they don't know how inferior I am. I hate them so much. And then, Liu Wangli nodded, and he felt a little sympathetic towards Zhong Pinliang. He had already lost a kidney, and in this situation, he was still being laughed at? No one would be able to bear it. A while ago, I funded a trip to the beach for everyone, but how did they treat me? They laughed at me. I hate them, and I want to take revenge on them. Zhong Pinliang couldn't help but feel some anger in his eyes when he said this. Go on, how do you want to take revenge on them? Liu Wangli thought, could this be the motive for Zhong Pinliang to poison? I myself didn't know how to take revenge on them. At this time, a relative of mine happened to come to visit me, so I told him my idea. He said he would help me with ideas, and it would all be up to him. So he helped me develop a plan to play a prank on them. He asked me to put laxatives in the food in the cafeteria, so that when they go to the toilet during class, the school toilets will be crowded, and they will poop in their trouser pockets, so that they can lose face. They will know how painful it is to be laughed at. I can also laugh at them to my heart's content. Put laxatives, Liu Wangli frowned. If Zhong Pinliang had only put laxatives, it would not be considered a criminal offense. As long as it did not cause serious consequences, it would be just a prank. Yes, but I don't know where to buy laxatives, and I dare not buy them casually. I'm afraid that the dosage of laxatives is too large for my classmates to bear. Zhong Pinliang nodded and said. Chapter 690, Surrender. I just wanted to teach them a lesson and didn't want to send them to the hospital. Since the relative who gave me the idea was in the pharmaceutical business, I asked him to buy some laxatives for me. The laxative he bought for you is the same poison in the food you put in the cafeteria. Liu Wangli nodded and continued to ask. Yes, but he didn't say it was poison, he just said it was a laxative, Zhong Pinliang said. He said this laxative is made up of 7 herbs and has few side effects, but if all the students in the school have diarrhea, the impact would be too great. He said that only eating a few of these 7 herbs would cause diarrhea, and the effects of diarrhea would vary depending on the type of herbs eaten, so it wouldn't arouse other people's suspicion. Liu Wangli nodded. If it was really according to what Zhong Pinliang said, then he might have been used by his relative. After all, the idea and the laxatives used for implementation were provided by his relative. Zhong Pinliang was just a deceived plan implementer. The fact that the relative gave Zhong Pinliang 7 herbs clearly indicated that he hadn't mistaken other medicines for laxatives, as this method of dispensing the medicines was completely deliberate and planned. And Zhong Pinliang was foolish enough to just do whatever he was told, and he took it seriously. What's your relative's name? Liu Wangli asked. Jin Miaoxing, a distant relative of my uncle Jin Gubang, Zhong Pinliang said. Liu Wangli nodded and was about to say something when his phone rang. He took it out and saw it was from the police. He quickly answered, This is Liu Wangli, go ahead, Captain Liu. A man named Jin Miaoxing has come to the police station to surrender himself. He claims to be the mastermind behind the poisoning in the first high school cafeteria. The call was from one of Liu Wangli's men. Oh? Okay, I'll rush back, Liu Wangli thought to himself, what a coincidence. He'd just learned the suspect's name when he surrendered himself. But now, Liu Wangli no longer doubted Zhong Pinliang's words. After hanging up the phone, Liu Wangli said to Zhong Pinliang, although you can be considered a victim in this incident, you still bear responsibility. Please do not leave Songshan City until the case is concluded. Okay, Zhong Pinliang nodded. I'll be hospitalized for a while and won't be wandering around. Now you don't have to be afraid. The kidney harvesting ring has been eliminated by our police, so you don't have to worry about anything, Liu Wangli said. We hope you'll serve as a witness for the police and bring charges against this criminal gang. Huh? The kidney harvesting ring has been eliminated. Zhong Pinliang was shocked. He had just had a kidney transplant there at noon. How could they be eliminated in such a short time? How could they be eliminated so quickly? Yes, the kidney harvesting ring's headquarters has been completely eradicated. Of course, if you're worried about retaliation from the kidney harvesting ring, we can send some police officers to provide close protection for you during your hospitalization, Liu Wangli said. Zhong Pinliang's previous claims about not wanting to testify for a fear of embarrassment and retaliation were pure nonsense. They were meant to confuse Liu Wangli. But now that he heard that the kidney-sucking ring had been destroyed, Zhong Pinliang started to think about it. He didn't know if Xuanyuan had been caught. In his heart, Zhong Pinliang still hated Xuanyuan very much. After all, he was the murderer who cut off his kidney. As for Lin Yi, Zhong Pinliang no longer hated him. He had already replaced Lin Yi's kidney with his own. Why should he hate Lin Yi? It's better to feel sympathy for him. The great master Lin lost a kidney. It's funny to tell anyone about it. I heard from Brother Black Panther that Lin Yi is also a yellow level master. So after I get a kidney from a yellow level master, can I also have the strength of a yellow level master? I don't need all of it, half will do. Zhong Pinliang fantasized about a life of power and influence, planning to test his own strength after recovering from his illness. So, after hearing that the kidney harvesting ring had been busted, Zhong Pinliang was actually quite relieved. He couldn't do anything to Xuanyuan himself, but the police could. Now that he had a kidney, he no longer needed Xuanyuan, so he decided to bust it. So, if I testify, can my earlier poisoning be considered as redemption? Zhong Pinliang asked hesitantly. Of course, after all, we have to consider your final punishment, Liu Wangli said. Okay, then, I'll testify, Zhong Pinliang nodded. but you have to protect me. I don't want to be retaliated against by the remnants of the kidney harvesting ring. Don't worry about that. We will definitely consider the safety of the witnesses. Liu Wangli nodded. Zhong Pinliang was so happy. He had poisoned the person, and not only was he safe, but he also had police protection. He was truly impressive. If Lin Yi saw this, he would probably be furious. Wow. After Liu Wangli left, Zhang Fabei walked quickly into Zhong Pinliang's ward. Pinliang, how are you? Is there anything wrong? It's okay. My acting skills are quite good, Zhong Pinliang said proudly. That Liu Wangli seemed to sympathize with me very much, and told me that I was deceived, and now I am still making meritorious service while guilty, so there should be no problem. That's good, Zhang Fabei nodded. The relative of your uncle Jingabang's family has been arranged. The soldier gave his family 3 million as a resettlement fee. His wife died early, and he has 2 sons. He was worried about not having enough money to arrange their marriage. This time he has everything at once, and he is so happy that it is worth it to die. By the way, Dad, I heard from that Liu Wangli that their police wiped out the kidney harvesting group. Zhong Pinliang couldn't help but lowered his voice when he said this. You said I just had a kidney transplant at noon. How come the police wiped them out? Did they wipe out Jianwen's headquarters? No way. So quickly? And Jianwen is so unlucky, Zhang Fabei said here. His heart was indescribably happy. He had removed his son's kidney. How could it be so easy to get one back? Now that his headquarters was wiped out, it could be considered a punishment for him, but God bless our Zhong family. It was wiped out just after you got a kidney transplant. You are still very lucky. That's right. I found that our family's fortunes have turned around now. Not only did I succeed in dealing with Lin Yi once, but you also relied on Bing Xiao. It will be difficult for our Zhong family not to prosper in the future, Zhong Pinliang said happily. Chapter 691 Motive. Haha, that's exactly what happened. Zhong Fabei thought about it carefully, and it was indeed the case. It seemed that the Zhong family was really going to prosper. So, the father and son laughed happily in the ward. After laughing for a while, Zhong Pinliang felt something was wrong and quickly said, Dad, stop laughing. Liu Wangli said that he would send police officers to protect me. Don't let them find any flaws. Zhang Fabei's smile stopped abruptly, and he almost suffocated. After a while, he said, why didn't you say it earlier? Jin Maoxing had rehearsed many times, so when he arrived at the police station, he was familiar with the situation and confessed the problem directly. As for why he turned himself in, it was because he watched TV and couldn't stand the pressure. His motive for committing the crime was actually very simple, that is, it was a spur-of-the-moment idea. After listening to Zhong Pinliang's confession, he suddenly came up with this revenge plan. And the reason he wanted revenge was to trace back to an incident a year ago. A year ago, Jin Maoxing's family was very poor. He had to support 2 children by himself, and the money he earned from selling Chinese medicinal herbs was not enough. Daily expenses were enough, but he still had to find wives for his 2 sons, right? Who would follow him if he didn't have a house or a car? So Jin Maoxing's mind became active, and he wanted to do something on his own. He found his distant relative, Jin Gubang, and asked him to find a way to help him contract the cafeteria of a high school. This would solve his immediate problem. A cafeteria was a profitable business, easily earning hundreds of thousands of yuan a year. Jin Maoxing thought that contracting a cafeteria shouldn't be a difficult task for Jin Gubang, the second largest shareholder of Pengzhan Group. In fact, Jin Gubang didn't think it was a difficult task. Although they were distant relatives, they still shared the same surname. He should help out if he could. It wouldn't take much effort, just a matter of talking. But unexpectedly, when Jin Gubang brought up this suggestion at the board meeting, Chu Pengzhan rejected it. The reason was simple: a high school cafeteria should be self-operated. This would ensure the freshness of the ingredients and generate a considerable income for the school. Why not? Jin Gubang was humiliated and resented Chu Pengzhan, but he had long been plotting to replace him, so he didn't show it. He simply told Jin Maoxing what Chu Pengzhan had said. Jin Maoxing, frustrated by his failed canteen contract, resented Chu Pengzhan. It wasn't like Chu Pengzhan wouldn't pay the contract fee, and their self-operated business wouldn't make much more than he'd earned by contracting. Why wouldn't he contract it out to him? He had a stake in the company, too. However, because Jin Gubang was still a shareholder in the group, Jin Maoxing, despite his frustration, didn't react. A year had passed in the blink of an eye. Zhong Pinliang's outburst reminded Jin Maoxing of the previous year's animosity. Now that Jin Gubeng was no longer chairman of the group, anything Jin Maoxing did wouldn't affect him. Already angry about his failed canteen contract, Jin Maoxing set his sights on the school cafeteria. "Aren't you self-operated? Then I'll get you into trouble to see what the consequences of self-operation are." Of course, Jin Maoxing considered the consequences when he did this. However, he realized that the poison he had administered was a lost ancient recipe he had learned from an old Chinese doctor while traveling the world collecting medicine. The recipe was complex, requiring the simultaneous presence of 7 herbs to cause poisoning. The hospital and police likely wouldn't be able to find such a special poison, so the case ultimately fell through. Unexpectedly, the Guanshenya pharmaceutical company actually discovered the recipe and gave it to the police. Unable to withstand the pressure, Jin Maoxing surrendered to the police. Jin Maoxing's explanation was reasonable, and he had sufficient justification for the crime. The remaining 7 herbs were also found in his home, allowing the police to quickly close the case. As for Zhong Pinliang, Jin Maoxing made it clear that he was merely using him and had nothing to do with Zhong Pinliang. Since everyone should take responsibility for their own actions, it was best not to punish Zhong Pinliang. Liu Wangli had originally been full of sympathy for Zhong Pinliang. After a meeting, he concluded that since Zhong Pinliang was a victim of a kidney harvesting ring, and the city was currently working to reduce the ring's influence on the people, it was inappropriate to publicize Zhong Pinliang's case too much. Zhong Pinliang was also deceived by Jin Maoxing and was therefore a victim, so he was exempted from criminal punishment, but criticism and education were still necessary. However, it was unknown whether all the remnants of the kidney harvesting ring had been apprehended. As a victim of the kidney harvesting ring, Zhong Pinliang was given the necessary protection by the police while in the hospital, with officers stationed near his ward around the clock. The police needed the victim to testify in court to accuse the criminal group of their crimes, and Zhong Pinliang. But afterwards, Liu Wangli called Ding Binggong and discussed Zhong Pinliang's case alone. Principal Ding, Zhong Pinliang is a very pitiful student. He had a kidney removed, which is tragic enough, and the students are mocking him. This is very detrimental to his psychological development, Liu Wangli said. I suggest the school organize a charity event and have everyone visit Zhong Pinliang in the hospital. Liu Wangli, who had been dedicated to Zhong Pinliang, offered this suggestion to the school in order to prevent any psychological distortion. Ding Binggong naturally agreed. After all, while a student's academic performance is important, their psychological well-being is also crucial. Thus, the mass coma incident at No. 1 High School came to a temporary end, and the school's reputation was largely restored. All that was left was for the police to hold a press conference to reveal the truth. Liu Xinwen and Kang Xiaobo were somewhat helpless about Tang Yun calling Lin Yi and asking him to rescue her love rival. Since Tang Yun was willing, what else could they say? There was nothing to do this afternoon, so Kang Xiaoming decided to take Xiaofan to the hospital for a follow-up visit. After a period of treatment, Xiaofan's schizophrenia had obviously improved a lot. Since the last time she saw Kang Xiaoming, Xiaofan had completely lost confidence in him and had removed him from her heart. This was also what Kang Xiaobo was happy to see, otherwise Kang Xiaobo would always feel like a substitute for Kang Xiaoming. Xiaofan hasn't had an attack for a while. While Xiaofan's parents are happy, they are also very grateful to Kang Xiaobo. If it weren't for Kang Xiaobo, their daughter wouldn't be full of hope for life again. Over the past few years, Xiaofan's illness has always been a concern for Xiaofan's parents. In order to treat her, they have almost spent all the family savings. Chapter 692 Cold Brother. However, the doctors at the hospital made it very clear that Xiaofan's schizophrenia was mainly a mental illness, and that only by resolving her mental issues could she recover. The hospital could only control the mania during the onset of the disease, and the treatment would not be very effective. Kang Xiaobo's appearance gave Xiaofan's parents a glimmer of hope, but they were also a little worried. Although Kang Xiaobo liked their daughter, would Kang Xiaobo's parents accept her? Of course, if their daughter hadn't gotten into trouble, everything would have been easy to say. Although their family wasn't rich, their daughter was beautiful, and Kang Xiaobo's family wasn't a wealthy family either, so it was considered a match made in heaven. But now, not only has their daughter become a broken flower, but she also has problems with her legs and feet. She's mentally better, but after all, she has been labeled as a person with a history of mental illness. Although this kind of mental illness caused by emotional trauma is not hereditary, Kang Xiaobo's family might not think so. What if they object? So Xiaofan's family is also very worried, but there's nothing they can do. They just hope Kang Xiaobo can manage it. However, Xiaofan's parents never expected that Kang Xiaobo would bring Xiaofan to attend Dr. Kang's birthday party. Not only did they meet Kang Xiaoming directly, but they also met Kang Xiaobo's parents. This made Xiaofan's parents feel uneasy. They were afraid that Kang Xiaobo's parents would come to their house and separate the two children. But after waiting for a few days, Kang Xiaobo's parents did not come to their house. Instead, Kang Xiaobo still came to visit Xiaofan as often as before. This made Xiaofan's parents relieved and deeply grateful to Kang Xiaobo's parents. However, after asking their daughter, they realized that things were not what they thought at all. Kang Xiaobo's parents were against them being together at first, but because Lin Yi was there to mediate, Kang Xiaobo's parents now agreed. The reason was that Lin Yi gave Kang Xiaobo a chance to succeed, and also gave Kang Xiaobo the confidence and capital to speak in front of his parents. After all, Kang Xiaobo could say he was grown up and capable of standing on his own, and he'd handle matters of the heart. Xiaofan's parents were delighted to see Kang Xiaobo, Tang Yun, and Liu Xinwen arrive, but a bit surprised. Don't you have school today? Why are you here so early? School's out, and I was thinking of taking Xiaofan to the hospital for a follow-up checkup, Kang Xiaobo said, smiling as he greeted Xiaofan's parents. Yet, I was thinking of going to the hospital to see Uncle Tang, too. I've wanted to go for a while, but my legs aren't so convenient, and my parents don't want me to go alone, Xiaofan said happily at Kang Xiaobo's suggestion. Xiaofan and Tang Yun had been good friends since childhood. They'd often eaten at Tang Yun's house when they were little, so they were very familiar with Tang's parents. With Tang Jiqing in the hospital, it was natural for her to visit. Yet, we want to see old Tang too, but we don't know when Kaibing Real Estate will come to demolish the house, and we don't dare leave. We're afraid that as soon as we leave, the bulldozers will come and tear the house down, Xiaofan's parents sighed. These people are so wicked. There's really nothing we can do, huh? No way? They dare to do that. Kang Xiaobo was a little surprised. What's the big deal? They dared to tear down Tang Yun's house even though someone was there, let alone those without one, Xiaofan's father said angrily. The old Nia family in the front yard was away because they were out, and the bulldozers came and knocked their house down. Now they have nowhere to seek justice, and the whole family doesn't know where to live. They really dared. Kang Xiaobo clenched his fists, extremely angry, but he also knew that he was not capable enough to change anything. If only the boss would intervene. Thinking about how Lin Yi was so arrogant that he dared to even knock down Zhao Kaibing's Kaibing building, and beat Zhao Kaibing to a cripple, and nothing happened to him, it was almost unbelievable. What he couldn't understand the most was that Zhao Kaibing didn't retaliate. He really bullies the weak and fears the strong. In fact, what Kang Xiaobo didn't know was why Zhao Kaibing didn't retaliate. He did retaliate against Chu Pengzhan, but he didn't expect that Lin Yi would resolve it again. Forget it, we are all ordinary people. Those people are more powerful than the underworld. How dare we go against them? Xiaofan's father shook his head. How can Lin Yi handle it? Don't cause trouble for him. Xiaofan's parents didn't want to ask Lin Yi to talk to Zhao Kaibing and give them more compensation, but how could Lin Yi help you do such a thing? Lin Yi probably didn't care about the compensation. From the way he dealt with Zhao Kaibing, it can be seen that he has no shortage of money and is just going to vent his anger. Kang Xiaobo didn't dare to agree casually. He could only wait to see Lin Yi and then talk to him about this matter. Although he didn't ask Lin Yi to take care of everything, he should help Xiaofan's family if he could. After all, she is his girlfriend, right? Kang Xiaobo led Xiaofan, Tang Yun, and Liu Xinwen out of the shantytown. They hailed a taxi on the way, and the four of them rushed to the hospital. Kang Xiaoming shivered in the ice rink, ignoring the idiotic stares he received. Finally, he realized he was dying. His entire body was hot and cold, tears streaming down his face. He nearly fainted. He called to Zhu Xiaozhang, who was standing beside him. Xiaozhang, can you feel me? Do I have a fever? Zhu Xiaozhang quickly felt Kang Xiaoming's forehead and was startled. Ming Xiao, your head is so hot it could boil water, really? That's great. Let's go. Kang Xiaoming gritted his teeth and laughed miserably, his expression indescribably tragic. Yet, we finally did it. Wang Shubin was delighted. He felt unbearably cold even in his cotton coat and didn't want to stay any longer. Haha, I finally caught a cold. King Xiaoming, now filled with both pain and joy, stood up, laughing heartily, and staggered out the door. Everyone in the ice hockey rink was dumbfounded, thinking, is this guy a fool? He finally caught a cold? He came here just to catch a cold? Is this guy a mental patient? The girl who took the photo with her mobile phone continued to use her mobile phone to record the scene. She was going to upload it directly to the internet. This is simply cold, brother. After King Xiaoming, Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin left the ice hockey rink, they drove back to the hospital in a Porsche Cayenne. He was anxious to see Guanxin for a doctor. It was a hot day outside, but King Xiaoming still felt shivering. However, for fear that he would recover, he did not dare to neglect it. He ordered Wang Shubin, who was driving, to turn the air conditioner in the car to the maximum. As a result, Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaozhang also suffered. Although it was hot, the air conditioner could not be turned to the highest level. Would they freeze to death? Chapter 693 failed again. After finally making it to the First People's Hospital, Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaozhang also started sneezing, though thankfully, it wasn't serious. They helped King Xiaoming, who could barely stand, inside the hospital. They hurried to Guanxin's floor and found her in the nurse's office. Achoo! King Xiaoming sneezed as he entered, startling Guanxin, who was dispensing medication. Turning around, she saw King Xiaoming walking in with two people supporting him. She was startled. Why are you here again, Guanxin? I'm here to see a doctor, King Xiaoming said excitedly, feeling he had finally found a reason to approach Guanxin. I have a cold. Can you give me a shot? Have you registered? Have you seen the outpatient clinic? Do you have a doctor's order? Guanxin frowned, puzzled by how King Xiaoming could be so ill after just one trip, and he looked seriously ill. But regardless of whether his illness was genuine or fake, Guanxin couldn't possibly give him a shot. How could she treat him without a doctor's order? I still need to see an outpatient? Look at me, I'm in this condition. If I don't get an injection, I'll die. King Xiaoming was stunned, and then he suddenly remembered the procedure for going to the hospital for treatment. It was all his fault for having a fever. He was a little confused and his brain was not very clear. But Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin didn't remind him. They didn't have a fever either. How could they be so stupid? He couldn't help but glare at Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin with some annoyance, but in front of Guanxin, King Xiaoming couldn't directly scold them. This was King Xiaoming's wish for Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubin. Young men like them never had to make an appointment to see a doctor when they were in the provincial capital. Especially with King Xiaoming's connections in the King family, he had acquaintances in every hospital he went to. He could just find an acquaintance to take him to get injections and take medicine. He had no idea that he needed to register. Nurse Guanxin, young Master Ming's condition is very serious and urgent. We didn't have time to register. How about you treat him first and I'll go and register later, Wang Shubin said quickly. Then you should go to the outpatient clinic too. I can't use medicine indiscriminately without a doctor's order, Guanxin said. Since his condition is so serious, why don't you take him to the outpatient clinic first? Well, it's like this actually. I don't have any acquaintances in this hospital. I don't know anyone and I'm afraid they will frame me. King Xiaoming suddenly had an idea and said, look at how luxuriously decorated this hospital is. It must have squeezed a lot of people's money. If I don't have any acquaintances in this hospital, I wouldn't dare to go. What if I die from the treatment? You are my only acquaintance. Please help me. King Xiaoming was very proud of his wit. This reason made a lot of sense. Nowadays, many newspapers and news are reporting on the dark side of hospitals. It was not nonsense and it made sense. Just when King Xiaoming was feeling good about himself, Guanxin's face darkened. Our hospital system is very clear, with clear charging standards. We can't cheat you, and all doctors have medical licenses, so they won't kill you. That's hard to say. Even with clearly marked prices, there can be shady operations. King Xiaoming was not in a clear mind, and obviously still didn't realize that Guanxin was very unhappy. He continued to say self-righteously, these hospital bosses are all black-hearted nowadays. I'm really worried. My father's heart is not black. Guanxin glared at King Xiaoming and turned away without paying any attention to him. Huh? King Xiaoming was stunned after hearing what Guanxin said, and then he suddenly realized. Isn't Guanxin's father, Guangzhao Xiang, The son of Guanzuman? And isn't Guanzuman's youngest son, Guanzin's father, a shareholder of this hospital? It's over, it's really over. Isn't he just making a veiled attack? Isn't this going to make Guanzin hate him to death? Last time I said her grandfather was a liar, this time I said her father was a black-hearted boss. Damn it, is there any room for redemption? Kang Xiaoming almost fainted, not to mention how embarrassed he was. It seems that this cold and fever are really harmful. When the mind is not clear, it is easy to speak incoherently. Guanzin, don't be angry, that's not what I mean. I didn't say that your father is black-hearted. I'm just scared of some black-hearted businessmen, Kang Xiaoming hurriedly explained. I have a cold and a fever now. My mind is not very clear. I am confused and talk nonsense. You can't argue with a patient, right? Since you're sick, go see a doctor quickly. I want to work. How could Guanzin not know what Kang Xiaoming was thinking? If Kang Xiaoming didn't want to pursue her, why would he try to get close to her? But Guanzin didn't like him and didn't give him a chance. Kang Xiaoming felt too embarrassed to continue pestering Guanzin to accompany him to the doctor's appointment. He gave Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaozhang a sullen look, asking them to take him to register for the appointment. After all, he could still ask Guanzin for the injection after getting the doctor's order. Not long after Kang Xiaoming left, Kang Xiaobo arrived. Kang Xiaobo didn't know anyone at the hospital, so bringing Xiaofan for a follow-up appointment would be convenient if he had someone he knew. He'd met Guanzin through Lin Yi before, and since she was Guanzuman's granddaughter, Kang Xiaobo naturally had a good relationship with her. Guanzin was also happy to be friends with Kang Xiaobo. She couldn't quite articulate why, though. Was it because he was Lin Yi's good friend? However, seeing Tang Yun beside Kang Xiaobo, she felt a little embarrassed. It seemed her little thoughts hadn't escaped the beautiful young woman's notice. Guanzin, I'm bringing Xiaofan for a follow-up appointment. Are you busy? Can you take us there? Kang Xiaobo asked with a smile after entering the nurse's office. Of course, wait until I'm done with what I'm doing. Guanzin was preparing some wound medication that would be sent to the ward soon, so she had to get it ready before she could do anything else. Thank you so much for troubling you, Kang Xiaobo nodded gratefully. Sometimes, doctors aren't in the ward, so if Kang Xiaobo took Xiaofan for a follow-up appointment, he might not be able to find them. It's okay, what's the trouble? Guanzin shook her head. You guys take a seat. I'll need to get it done for a while, okay, you go ahead. Kang Xiaobo pulled Xiaofan to sit on the sofa nearby. Tang Yun felt a little awkward. As a woman, her intuition told her that there must be some subtle flirtation between Lin Yi and Guanzin. But she didn't know what to do. Guanzin had always been so gentle and soft, never showing anything, never competing, which made Tang Yun reluctant to compete with her. Besides, Guanzin had helped her father a lot during his hospitalization, so it was even harder for Tang Yun to harbor any thoughts about her. Chapter 694, Ruining a Good Deed. As long as she doesn't do anything too extreme, he won't care about her, right? In Tang Yun's opinion, her current rival in love is the eldest daughter, and as for Guanzin, it seems that there is no such thing as a rival in love. Guanzin prepared the medicine for several wards and delivered it personally. After returning to the nurse's duty room, she said to Kang Xiaobo and others, I'm done, I can take Xiaofan to the follow-up visit. Okay, let's go now. Kang Xiaobo stood up. No, I'll take Xiaofan with me, you don't have to go. Guanzin didn't want Kang Xiaobo to go with her, because Xiaofan's mental illness was caused by another man, and the doctor might ask some sensitive questions during the follow-up visit, which would not be good for Kang Xiaobo to hear, and it would be embarrassing for both of them. So thinking of this, Guanzin decided not to take Kang Xiaobo with her. That's fine, thank you for your help. Kang Xiaobo was not stupid. Seeing Guanzin's expression, he guessed something, so he didn't insist. Xiaofan was grateful for Guanzin's understanding. She actually didn't want Kang Xiaobo to go along, either. Doctors, seeking a comprehensive understanding, sometimes ask awkward questions. They even asked how many times Kang Xiaoming had slept together, which was unpleasant for Kang Xiaobo to hear. Tang Yun also sensed Guanzin's understanding. It was hard not to attract boys with a girl like her, but what could she do? She couldn't tell Lin Yi not to meet her, could she? Tang Yun was torn. She'd finally fallen in love, but why was it so difficult? She'd thought her looks wouldn't make it easy to find a devoted boy. She'd been content with just being nice to him, but the girls around her were every bit as good as her, and some even rated her better overall. This left Tang Yun unsure how to handle this situation. She had no experience at all. Watching Guanxin leave, Tang Yun sighed softly. Why was she so unlucky? With so many strong competitors, was she even going to feel comfortable? Liu Xinwen noticed Tang Yun's frustration and patted her shoulder. What's wrong? Are you struggling again? How could Tang Yun admit that? How could she show weakness in front of her best friend? You're saying no, but ever since I saw Guanxin, I've had a feeling something wasn't right about you. Liu Xinwen knew Tang Yun quite well. Speaking of which, Yunayan, how far have you and Lin Yi progressed? Tell me the truth, how far could it have gone? We're only in high school, okay? Holding hands, at most. Tang Yun felt shy, but she attributed the lack of progress between her and Lin Yi to her still being in school. High school? You slept together in junior high, right? Yunayan, are you still okay? Have you ever been online? I saw you talking so excitedly at Fatty Lai's house the other day, but it turns out it was all a lie. Liu Xinwen was disappointed. Aren't they lying too? I don't believe they dare to play that three-pronged game with Lin Yi. Tang Yun felt a little aggrieved. If it weren't for Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu, would she have said so many shameless things? It's hard to say about Chu Mengyao, but Chen Yashu is a possibility. She looks eager to try. Liu Xinwen was quite good at judging people. I'm telling you, Yunayan, you have to keep a close eye on Lin Yi, otherwise you'll be crying. If he wants to be with someone else, how can I stop him? Tang Yun shook her head, feeling uncertain about the future. I really can't say. With your personality, you'll suffer sooner or later. You might not even know when he's sleeping with Lin Yi. Liu Xinwen felt helpless, feeling very disappointed. If he likes to sleep, what can I do? Tang Yun asked, as if asking Liu Xinwen, but also as if asking herself. After asking, Tang Yun shook her head again. She didn't want to think about it anymore. These things were too upsetting. Kang Xiaobo couldn't get a word in as they chatted, so he could only sit aside and pretend not to hear. This was the campus bell of Tang University. Kang Xiaobo had never imagined that the campus bell of Tang University would be so anxious about a man. The boss was truly amazing. Zhu Xiaoxiang helped Kang Xiaoming register downstairs, and then he hurried to the outpatient clinic. Wang Shubin and Kang Xiaoming were already waiting there. There were a lot of people registering in this hospital, but Zhu Xiaoxiang was very arrogant and cut in line. When others criticized him, he was arrogant and wanted to hit them, which made those who had criticized him shut up. After all, Zhu Xiaoxiang is fat and tall. Who wants to mess with him? Let him do it if he wants. Zhu Xiaoxiang is not ashamed of it at all, but proud of it. He thinks that only in this way can he live up to his title of arrogant brother. Kang Xiaoming saw a doctor. In fact, his illness was very simple, just a common cold caused by wind and cold. The doctor prescribed medicine for him, but Kang Xiaoming insisted on being hospitalized. In fact, he could be hospitalized or not, but the doctor saw that he had a serious fever and insisted on being hospitalized, so he prescribed him a 3-day hospitalization. Anyway, Kang Xiaoming, this young man, looked very rich, and the doctor didn't intend to save money for him. Kang Xiaoming happily went to find Guanxin for an injection with the doctor's order. This really made Kang Xiaoming very upset. In fact, he could have found someone to give the injection in any nurse's duty room or treatment room in the general surgery department with the order. But he came here for Guanxin, so naturally he wanted to find Guanxin. Ming Xiao, you have to hold on. We're almost at Guanxin's floor. Just hold on a little longer. Wang Shubin saw that Kang Xiaoming's legs were weak from the fever and he couldn't walk steadily, so he quickly encouraged him. Okay, I'll hold on. Kang Xiaoming gritted his teeth and finally insisted on going upstairs. When he was about to reach Guanxin's nurse's duty room, he saw Guanxin and a girl walking out of the nurse's duty room together. However, the girl next to Guanxin made Kang Xiaoming stunned and he subconsciously stopped. Ming Xiao, isn't that Xiaofan, that bitch? Why is she with Guanxin? Zhu Xiaoxiang also saw Xiaofan and Guanxin walking out together, and he was a little surprised at this time. Yet, how could she know Guanxin? Wang Shubin was also very puzzled. Fuck, I remember, Kang Xiaobo seemed to have known Guanxin last time, so it's not surprising that Xiaofan knows Guanxin's granddaughter. Kang Xiaoming finally got a quick head, but he guessed wrong. Xiaofan and Guanxin didn't know each other through Guanxin at all. Makes sense, Zhu Xiaoxiang nodded, But this is troublesome, can't we get over it? This bitch, she just ruined my good thing, damn it, why didn't I kill her back then? Kang Xiaoming said hatefully. It's definitely not possible to go over there now. If Guanxin knew about what happened between Xiaofan and me, I would have no chance of pursuing her. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 695 Time Bomb. Mr. Ming, I don't think this is an insurmountable problem. I think it's already very troublesome. Wang Shubin shook his head, his expression somewhat serious. Guanxin and Xiaofan know each other. This is going to be difficult. Why? Even if she knew Guanxin, she couldn't be with her all the time. Wouldn't it be better to avoid her? Kang Xiaoming asked, somewhat puzzled. It's not that you can just avoid her, Mr. Ming. Think about it. What if that bitch Xiaofan starts talking nonsense and tells you about your past? Do you think Guanxin's impression of you will improve? Where will you stand a chance? Wang Shubin was a conspirator, a man who considered things very comprehensively. Kang Xiaoming frowned at Wang Shubin's words. He was right. Xiaofan was like a time bomb around Guanxin. Who knew she would go off with a bang, completely destroying her? So, Xiaofan is really a big problem. Kang Xiaoming hated Xiaofan to death. How could this bitch be so troublesome? Nothing has been right since he met her again. The Kang family has not been doing well recently. Now his pursuit of Guanxin is a major plan for the revitalization of the Kang family, but he must not let Xiaofan ruin it. Thinking of this, a trace of cruelty flashed across Kang Xiaoming's eyes. Let's find a chance to get rid of her. Although Kang Xiaoming looks like a playful young master on the surface, he is actually a very bad person. He has committed many murders and arson without blinking an eye. When he was in junior high school, he dared to plot to kill Xiaofan, and now he's even worse. I think it's okay. She was lucky that she was not killed last time. Now she is not staying at home like a mental patient, but dares to run out and show off. I think she is looking for death. Zhu Xiaozhang is also a ruthless person. He directly agreed to Kang Xiaoming's proposal. I think we should just forget it. Wang Shubin hesitated. Killing her is not a good idea. Wang Shubin, why have you become so timid? When you planned to hit Xiaofan, it was you who found the car. Zhu Xiaozhang looked at Wang Shubin strangely. You are not becoming more and more reckless as you grow older, are you? Xiaozhang, listen to what Wang Shubin says. Kang Xiaoming still cares about Wang Shubin's advice. After all, Wang Shubin's brain is pretty good. He must have his reasons for saying that. Young Master Ming, Kang Xiaobo's friend named Lin Yi is a fucking lunatic, a complete violent maniac. Wang Shubin said this with a timid look on his face. We all know about Tang Yun being injured by Zhao Kaibing, right? At Zhao Kaibing's completion ceremony that day, Lin Yi literally tore down the Kaibing building and broke Zhao Kaibing's leg. Holy crap, we'd better avoid provoking people like that, but Xiaofan isn't Tang Yun. How can Lin Yi really care about this? Zhu Xiaozhang was also a little scared, but he still argued. Xiaofan is Kang Xiaobo's girlfriend now. If we kill Xiaofan, what if she's exposed and Kang Xiaobo asks Lin Yi for revenge? It's better to be safe than sorry. If Lin Yi comes, we'll all be doomed. Wang Shubin shook his head. That makes sense. Although Kang Xiaoming was a bad guy, he was also a coward. Hearing that Lin Yi might come for revenge, he immediately gave up the idea of killing Xiaofan. It's better to avoid provoking violent people like that. Who knows how Lin Yi is still alive? Zhao Kaibing seemed to be very powerful and said, why not go and cause trouble for Lin Yi? So, young Master Ming, we still have to discuss the countermeasures carefully. How can we solve this problem once and for all? Wang Shubin said. What should I do now if I need an injection? Kang Xiaoming suddenly thought of a very serious problem. When he saw Xiaofan just now, he almost forgot that he still had a cold. Now I can only find another nurse. It's definitely not possible to find Guanxin, Wang Shubin said with some helplessness. Damn, I caught a cold in vain. Kang Xiaoming almost fainted. He endured such great pain and almost died. He finally caught a cold, and now he can't find Guanxin for an injection. Young Master Ming, you have to think about it this way. If we were looking for Guanxin for an injection and Xiaofan came, wouldn't we be exposed? Wang Shubin persuaded. In this way, We have turned a disaster into a blessing. Now that you put it that way, is that really the case? Kang Xiaoming thought carefully and realized that it was true. He should be happy. If Guanxin had not refused and had given him the injection directly, wouldn't he have been exposed in an instant? Thinking of this, Kang Xiaoming became happy again. It seemed that God supported him in pursuing Xiaofan. Accompanied by Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaozhang, Kang Xiaoming came to a general surgery treatment room and gave the medical instructions to a young and beautiful nurse. Kang Xiaoming thought that even if Guanxin didn't give him the injection, it would be nice to find a prettier girl. Big eyes, oval face, and watery skin made Kang Xiaoming drool. It was simply a uniform temptation. Such a beautiful girl, it's a waste to be a nurse here. Kang Xiaoming's mind became active. He has been with many girls over the years, but there are not many top-notch ones. Xiaofan is considered to be top-notch. If she wasn't too infatuated and too lenient, and wanted to marry him, Kang Xiaoming wouldn't be able to get rid of her so quickly. However, in Kang Xiaoming's eyes, this nurse is definitely top-notch, much better than Xiaofan. Although her height is not that tall, it is just right. The key is that her figure is so good that even the white coat cannot hide her exquisite figure. Kang Xiaoming's old problem comes back again. However, when he thought about his main task now being to seduce Guanxin, Kang Xiaoming became discouraged again and had to give up this beautiful nurse. However, Guanxin is also a top-notch one, so it is not too regrettable. Just after Kang Xiaoming handed the medical instructions to the nurse turned around and gave the medical instructions to burly and tough auntie, Nurse Wang. A patient is here. Oh, okay. The tough auntie named Nurse Wang took the medical instructions and glanced at Kang Xiaoming. It's a cold. First do an allergy test, then an intramuscular injection. If nothing happens, you can have an IV drip. Huh? You're going to give me a shot? Kang Xiaoming looked at the tough auntie who was about to give him a shot, and suddenly became a little anxious. He was looking for a beautiful nurse. Why did she change to tough auntie? What? You still want to choose someone? The tough old lady looked at Kang Xiaoming with some impatience. She was the deputy head nurse here and was quite experienced in giving injections. Many children came to her specifically for injections, but this young man was still unwilling. Chapter 696 Not dead yet. I want her to give me an injection, Kang Xiaoming said, pointing at the beautiful nurse from before. Oh, then let her give it to you. The sturdy woman put down her work and turned to leave the treatment room. Seeing Kang Xiaoming's lustful look, she was very upset. Was this man here to get treatment or to see beautiful women? What the hell? How dare he let someone else give him an injection? I'm afraid he'll kill you. Kang Xiaoming was suddenly overjoyed when the sturdy nurse agreed. He said to the beautiful nurse, can you give me an injection? It's my first day here as an intern. I can't do it. The beautiful nurse waved her hands, but seeing Kang Xiaoming's pleading eyes, she said, how about I try? If it doesn't go in, I can try a few more times. Huh? Kang Xiaoming had really hoped that the nurse would give him an injection, but when she heard the nurse's words, her heart sank. First day of internship? And trying to give him an injection? What a joke. He's not even a test subject. What if he gets killed? What's wrong? The beautiful nurse looked at Kang Xiaoming strangely. Nothing. I'd better go find that Nurse Wang from before. Although Kang Xiaoming is a bit erotic, he will never joke about his life just to pick up girls. But, Nurse Wang went to the inpatient department and won't be back for a while. The beautiful nurse looked at Kang Xiaoming with some embarrassment. How about I try it on you? Okay? My technique is still very good. I have practiced on dead people before. No need. Kang Xiaoming was shocked. Fuck you, have you ever injected a dead person? If I inject you, you might become a dead person too. This beautiful nurse looks very beautiful, with big eyes and big breasts, but she is a bitch. She is not afraid of killing people. She wants to try the injection thing? Kang Xiaoming, not wanting to be snared, quickly stood up and forced a smile. No thanks. Is there another treatment room nearby? Oh, there are. Turn left and take the elevator. It's on the second basement floor. The pretty nurse thought for a moment and said, it's a bit far, though. You look like you're about to faint. Should I give you a shot? No, I'm wide awake. I won't faint anytime soon. Kang Xiaoming waved his hand and left the nurse's treatment room with Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaozhang. They ran towards the elevator, cursing as they ran. What a rotten hospital. How unethical are these trainee nurses? How dare they experiment on patients? Ming Xiao, are you okay? Why don't we take a break? Wang Shubin asked, noticing Kang Xiaoming's dizziness. It's okay. Let's get the shot. I should have let that tough old woman give it to me. Damn it, Kang Xiaoming had always felt like he'd had bad luck whenever he met Xiaofan, and now it seemed to be true. The three of them entered the elevator. The woman in charge of the elevator looked at Kang Xiaoming and the others and asked, which floor are we going to? This is the downstairs. Let's go downstairs too, to the second basement, Wang Shubin told the woman, but in his heart he wondered what kind of layout this hospital had. The treatment rooms weren't even together, scattered here and there, and this guy had actually gone to the basement. The woman gave the three of them a strange look, but still pressed the button for the second basement. When the elevator reached the first floor, everyone on board got out, leaving only Kang Xiaoming and the other two. Kang Xiaoming was puzzled. Why didn't any of them go to the basement? When the basement reached the second basement, the elevator doors opened. Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaoxiang helped Kang Xiaoming out. A chilling gust of air hit them, making them shiver. The smell of decay and medicine filled their noses, and the hallway was dimly lit. Holy shit, what the hell is this place? Why is there not even a soul? Kang Xiaoming couldn't help but curse. Wang Shubin was also very surprised, but when he looked up, he was frightened and subconsciously took 2 steps back. He was still holding Kang Xiaoming in his hand. When he took a step back, Kang Xiaoming could not help but stumble. Kang Xiaoming could not help but scold, "What are you doing? Do you want to fall to my death, Ming Xiao?" Here. Zhu Xiaoxiang also found something wrong when he looked up, but Kang Xiaoming was the only one who could not raise his head in a daze. What's wrong? If you have something to say it quickly, Kang Xiaoming said impatiently. Hurry up and find where to get the injection, Ming Xiao. You can't get the injection here, Zhu Xiaoxiang said. No injections? Kang Xiaoming was stunned. What do you mean? This is where injections are given to the dead. Zhu Xiaoxiang pointed to a spot not far ahead and said in a panic, Young Master Ming, this is the morgue. What? Kang Xiaoming was startled by Zhu Xiaoxiang's words. He looked up and saw the words mortuary, clearly written in large letters. In the dim hallway light, they looked eerie and terrifying. Click, just as the three of them were panicking, the mortuary door creaked open. Run, Kang Xiaoming, forgetting he was a patient, found the strength to frantically turn and dash for the elevator, pressing buttons frantically. But the elevator had already reached over 10 floors, and it would take a while for it to come down. Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaoxiang were also terrified. Although they mentally reminded themselves, where could ghosts come from in broad daylight, the atmosphere was truly eerie, causing their hearts to race uncontrollably. The morgue door slowly opened, and a cadaver cart slid out. Kang Xiaoming heard the noise, looked back, and suddenly fainted with fright. He was already weak, and with a shock, how could he stand it? Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaoxiang, although scared, were relieved after seeing the back of the morgue clearly. A little old man was pushing the morgue towards the elevator from the back. The light was dim before, and the old man was short, and he came out later, so people would naturally mistakenly think that the morgue moved by itself. The old man also saw Wang Shubin and Zhu Xiaoxiang, but when he saw Kang Xiaoming on the ground, he immediately asked, Another dead one? How did you send him here by yourselves? Where is the doctor? Not dead yet, we just went to the wrong place. Wang Shubin was afraid that the old man would push Kang Xiaoming directly into the cold storage, so he quickly explained. Chapter 697 Is it okay to change the name? Was the wrong way? How could you go wrong? The old man shook his head, ignored the three of them, and continued to wait for the elevator. Kang Xiaoming was better, he fainted directly, and he didn't know what fear was, but Zhu Xiaoxiang and Wang Shubin were scared to death, standing next to a corpse. It was a bit creepy. After Kang Xiaoming and the other two left, the pretty nurse took out 3 big wallets from her white coat, opened them, and couldn't help but instantly smile. Her eyes curved into crescent shapes. I didn't expect these 3 perverts to be so rich. Humph, this is the end of your lust. Let you go on a trip to the morgue. The pretty nurse quickly took out the money from the wallet and put it in her pocket, and then threw the 3 wallets out of the window. Not long after, Nurse Wang came back with a swaddling baby in her arms. Seeing that Kang Xiaoming and the other 2 were gone, she asked curiously, Where are those 3 people? Nurse Wang just felt that Kang Xiaoming was a little unreliable, so she wanted to teach him a lesson. Anyway, a cold would not kill anyone, so she deliberately went out to do other things and planned to come back to give them injections. However, When she came back, she found that they were gone. Maybe she couldn't wait and went somewhere else to get the injection. The beautiful nurse pretended not to know, skipped over, picked up the swaddling clothes in Nurse Wang's hands, took a look, and said, "Wow, it's a cute princess." Yeah, these parents are so cruel. They just left the baby in the hospital. The parents left a fake name, and the police couldn't find any information. Nurse Wang sighed. It's all thanks to your orphanage that took her in. Otherwise I don't know what to do with the abandoned babies in the hospital in the past few years. They favor sons over daughters. The baby girl in the hands of the beautiful nurse seemed to understand what she said. When she heard that her parents didn't want her, she couldn't help crying. The beautiful nurse hurried to coax the child. Don't cry, little baby. Sister Xiaok will take you to a new home. There are many brothers and sisters. Be a good girl, and Sister Xiaok will buy you milk powder later. The beautiful nurse's voice was very nice, as if she was born to coax these children. The baby girl stopped crying when she heard the beautiful nurse's words. The pretty nurse rocked the baby girl for a while, and she fell into deep sleep. Xiaok, head nurse son from the obstetrics department, is on leave today, so you don't need to go find her. Just take the baby home. Here are the paperwork. I've already taken care of it for you. Nurse Wang handed the pretty nurse a file bag. Thank you, Nurse Wang. I'll be leaving first then. The pretty nurse took the baby's file and thanked her with a smile. What are you thanking me for? Our hospital should thank you too. Otherwise, we wouldn't know what to do with these children. Nurse Wang waved her hand. Well, I'll be leaving first then. The pretty nurse took off her white coat and handed it back to Nurse Wang. Here, the air conditioning in this room is quite cold. I'm not used to houses without air conditioning, so I'm not used to it. Nurse Wang shook her head, took the white coat, and sent the pretty nurse away. Lin Yi left the hospital, hailed a taxi, and returned to the villa. There wasn't much to do in the hospital. And the young lady probably didn't want to see him right now. After all, the previous situation was so embarrassing. Lin Yi felt a little regretful. Should he have just found a random male student to force the poison out? However, he hadn't been completely confident he could concoct the antidote before, and he couldn't take the risk. If he had the choice over again, he would still save the young lady first. As for whether the others could be saved, that really didn't have much to do with Lin Yi. 7 herbs death powder, this long-lost poison, had unexpectedly appeared here. Although Lin Yi hadn't said anything in the hospital, he had to report this news to the old man as soon as possible. Who else knew about this poison? Which faction had sent him? This incident was clearly not random, but premeditated. Was it aimed at Chu Pengzhan or Chu Mengyao? Lin Yi didn't know yet and would have to ask Song Lingshan for details. He could call Song Lingshan in the car, but calling the old man was a bit more confidential, and Lin Yi had to wait until he got home. Idiot girl, have you come to any conclusions about the poisoning? Lin Yi called Song Lingshan. Song Lingshan was so angry that her teeth clenched. Why did he call her a brain-dead girl again? She thought he had stopped calling her that. Isn't this a bad name? Although Song Lingshan tried very hard to think of it as Lin Yi's nickname or endearment for her, she couldn't do it. Lin Yi, good Lin Yi, we are already in this kind of relationship. Please don't call me a brain-dead girl in the future, okay? Song Lingshan wanted to protest, but she also had to be strategic. Directly protesting to Lin Yi would obviously be ineffective, but Song Lingshan knew Lin Yi's weakness, which was his soft heart. Maybe if she talked to him nicely, it would work. Okay, then what should I call you? Tiger Girl, Lin Yi asked back. Well, you can call me Song Xiaoniu or Qiiniu, but Tiger Girl is too ugly. Song Lingshan found that Lin Yi was more interested in the combination of XX Girl and didn't dare to tamper with it too much, so she proposed 2 nicknames that she could accept. Oh, then call me Little Silly Girl. Lin Yi did not accept Song Lingshan's answer. Okay, Song Lingshan gritted her teeth. Little Silly Girl is Little Silly Girl. It sounds better than Brain Dead Girl, right? Although the meaning is similar, it doesn't sound as insulting. Things should always be done step by step, right? Rome was not built in a day. Song Lingshan felt that she could become a cute girl or something like that through hard work. Song Lingshan couldn't help but feel a chill at her own thoughts. Was she cheap? Was she satisfied with this? And she even hoped that Lin Yi would call her a cute girl? If this got out, would she be able to survive? However, Song Lingshan felt a little angry in her heart, but she didn't feel any rejection at all. Little Silly Girl, is there any result in the poisoning incident? Lin Yi asked. Yes, the criminal has surrendered himself to the police. According to his confession, he was the one who instructed Zhong Pinliang to poison the school cafeteria. He split the poison into 2 parts and put it into 7 dishes. As a result, only a small number of students who ate the 7 dishes were poisoned, while the other students were fine. Song Lingshan's explanation was relatively detailed. Normally, this kind of case should not be disclosed casually. But Song Lingshan knew very well that Lin Yi and Guan Zuman had a good relationship, and Guan Shenye Pharmaceutical Company was the discoverer of the poison. So even if these things were kept secret from Lin Yi would be able to find out from other channels. Chapter 698 Hidden Family. However, Song Lingshan didn't know that Lin Yi was the true discoverer of the poison, and Guan Shenye Pharmaceutical Company was merely a spokesperson pushed to the forefront. Zhong Pinliang. Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. How was he connected to Zhong Pinliang? This kid, with no kidneys, still came out to poison? Yes, but Zhong Pinliang was also a victim. We ultimately decided not to punish him. Of course, I personally disagree, but I can't decide the final outcome, Song Lingshan said flatly, clearly disliking Zhang Fabei and his son. But I heard someone up there is protecting Zhong Pinliang. It seems he's been hanging around with Zhao Kaibing lately. I see. Lin Yi finally figured out who was behind this. If nothing unexpected happened, it was Zhao Kaibing, and Zhao Kaibing had someone behind him besides Zubo, and there were other experts behind him. Anything else? I helped you, why don't you treat me, little brainless girl, to dinner? Song Lingshan had gotten used to calling her brainless girl in front of Lin Yi, and she almost said it out loud. How could she be so mean? She actually still wants to be a brainless girl? You got it wrong. Lin Yi found that Song Lingshan and the eldest lady were really 2 different people. Although their bodies were both seen and embarrassing things were witnessed, Song Lingshan suddenly became much more familiar with him, while the eldest lady became much colder. Then I can treat you, Song Lingshan said. Come to my house next Saturday. No time, Lin Yi said lightly and refused directly. Lin Yi felt that although Miss Song was very beautiful and seductive, it seemed wonderful to have something happen with her. But the consequences. It was already annoying enough now. If she came to him for everything after getting to know him better, would he be able to do anything else? Oh, next time then. Song Lingshan was a little bored. It seemed that Lin Yi really had no interest in her. The temptation failed. Lin Yi's guess was correct. Song Lingshan had indeed taken him for a ride. She'd already seen it all, and she'd suffered a huge loss, and there was no way to change it. She might as well ask Lin Yi for more help. Song Lingshan wanted Lin Yi to solve all the backlog cases on the force, like the theft rings, the motorcycle gangs, and so on. Although these organizations were long-standing and difficult to eradicate, Song Lingshan still had some hope. Her current momentum was strong, and if she continued like this, promotion to director wouldn't be a dream. It had only been a short time since she took office, and she'd already solved so many major cases. Song Lingshan felt much more at ease now. She figured, since Lin Yi had already noticed her, she was considered his girl. Why should she feel any burden from him helping her solve cases? Lin Yi hung up the phone, a headache brewing. He'd saved Song Lingshan, and she'd gotten into trouble. Now, Song Lingshan had learned to be stubborn and unreasonable, and she was much smarter than before. Back at the villa, Lin Yi called the old man. There was no one in the villa, so Lin Yi didn't need to avoid anyone. Old man, someone here is using the 7 herbs death powder. Oh, old man Lin was stunned after hearing this. After a while, he asked, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I've tried it, Lin Yi said. Could it be that those people have come out again? Old man Lin said uncertainly. Who? Lin Yi asked. People from the hidden family. Old man Lin said. Hidden family? I've heard of the 4 major families and the 5 minor families, but I've never heard of a hidden family. What do they do? Lin Yi was stunned. Haha, the 4 major families and the 5 minor families are just some families that were formed later in the secular world. They can't be compared with the hidden families at all, Old man Lin said, but I don't know much about the hidden families. Your master knows more about this than me because he was one of the parties involved back then. According to the agreement made more than 10 years ago, some ancient martial arts families need to live in seclusion, otherwise their appearance will disrupt many of the current orders. Oh? My master? Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect that his master was related to the hidden families. Among these hidden families, there is a medical family, the Yu family in Yunnan. Although they are proficient in medicine, they are best at using medical skills to harm people, and they are very knowledgeable about witchcraft, Old Man Lin said, but according to the original agreement, the Yu family does not allow their disciples to walk in the secular world, and they can only serve the major families and hidden families. You mean, this Yu family knows the formula of the 7 herbs death powder? Lin Yi asked with a frown. It's possible, but not certain, said Old Man Lin. Keep an eye on this matter for now, but don't pay any attention to it. With your current strength, you can't reach that level. They wouldn't dare to openly violate the original agreement, otherwise your master wouldn't be able to ignore it. Okay, I understand. Since Old Man Lin said so, Lin Yi naturally didn't ask any more questions. Although his current strength was enough to navigate the secular world, he was powerless against those hidden behemoths. Anything else? By the way, I've already given Ergudan the medicine you asked him to get, but he's busy with spring plowing, so it'll take some time for him to get there, said Old Man Lin. There's no rush, said Lin Yi. By the way, do you know about the Xuanyuan wooden box? Lin Yi suddenly remembered the Xuanyuan wooden box he had obtained at the auction, but he had no idea what it was for. Since returning from the auction, he had been busy with all kinds of things and had forgotten about the box until now. The Xuanyuan wooden box? I've heard of it. It's mentioned in an ancient book at home. Old Man Lin thought for a moment and said, Why are you asking? I think I have one, Lin Yi said. What? Old Man Lin was shocked. You have it? How did you get it? You actually have something like this that only appears in ancient books. I stumbled upon it at an auction. Lin Yi didn't expect Old Man Lin's reaction to be so strong. Could this Xuanyuan wooden box really be something special? So he asked, Old Man, is this something good? How can something mentioned in an ancient book not be good? Old Man Lin asked back. Oh, then, what exactly is this Xuanyuan wooden box used for? Lin Yi's curiosity was also piqued, and he asked quickly. What is it used for? I really don't know, Old Man Lin said, changing the subject. Huh? Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect Old Man Lin to answer like that. He couldn't help but ask in surprise. You don't know? I don't know, Old Man Lin said flatly. I recommend Xiantang Yu, the leading urban romance writer, the latest masterpiece. Flower City Bodyguard, ISBN 2145415. A mysterious and powerful bodyguard returns to the vibrant Flower City and enters a campus. Having never been a student before, how does he interpret the role? A gentle and charming cohabiting sister, a beautiful teacher with magnificent breasts, a sassy and flamboyant school belle, a confused young neighbor, a wealthy daughter, and a high-flying policewoman, a dazzling array of choices. Chapter 699, Female Thief Yu Zia Oak. Lin Yi was speechless. Then why are you so surprised? I thought it was a good thing. It's natural to be surprised. You can get the things in the ancient books, so how can I not be surprised? Old Man Lin rolled his eyes and retorted, besides, how can the things mentioned in the ancient books not be good things? But even if it is a good thing, the ancient books did not mention how to use it specifically. It only mentioned that it functions like a fresh-keeping box, which can keep medicines from spoiling for thousands of years. But there must be more than this function. It's just lost. This Lin Yi also rolled his eyes. Then you didn't say anything. I'd better study it myself. Lin Yi hung up the phone, not knowing what to say. The old man's words had no reference value at all, which made Lin Yi very distressed. It's like getting a high-level magic weapon in an online game, but not knowing how to use it. You are happy in vain, but you can't open it. Fortunately, reality is not an online game. You don't have to worry about running out of space in your backpack and can store some junk at will. Lin Yi placed the Xuanyuan wooden box and the 2 fragments of the map in a drawer. Since they were temporarily useless, Lin Yi could only regard them as junk. After calling the old man, Lin Yi called Tang Yun again. Hello. Tang Yun was waiting for Zia Fen to return in the nurse's duty room when the phone suddenly rang. Tang Yun glanced at the caller ID and was immediately delighted. Lin Yi, where are you? Is Chu Mengyao okay? Tang Yun didn't know why, but her first question was about Chu Mengyao. Was she truly concerned about Chu Mengyao, or was she concerned about whether Lin Yi and Chu Mengyao were together now? Tang Yun herself couldn't tell. Oh, she's fine now, Lin Yi said, feeling a bit strange. He didn't know how to tell Tang Yun. Although he had done it to save someone, the scene was still very awkward. I'm at home, and she's still in the hospital. Oh, Tang Yun breathed a sigh of relief. She was worried that Chu Mengyao would resort to some unnatural competitive tactics, like taking advantage of her illness to keep Lin Yi by her side. She could say that she needed protection during her illness, which would make Tang Yun very upset. "Where are you?" Lin Yi asked. "I'm in the hospital. I'm accompanying Xiafan for a follow-up visit." Guanxin brought her there, Tang Yun said. "I'll come find you guys." Lin Yi didn't know whether Tang Yun was doing it intentionally or not. Anyway, when Guanxin was mentioned, Lin Yi didn't know how to respond. "Yeah, that's fine," Tang Yun nodded. "My mom was just about to talk to you about buying a house. We can't live in the hospital forever, can we? My dad's leg is almost healed, and the doctor said he just needs to go home and rest." "Okay, I'll be there now." Lin Yi didn't have anything else to do, so he hung up the phone and turned to leave the villa. However, when he reached the villa gate, he remembered that his car was parked in the snack street behind the school. He had left with Xuanyuan's car at noon, and he had always taken a taxi. Going to the school to get the car was a bit redundant. Anyway, Tang Yun now knew about his relationship with the eldest lady, so Lin Yi drove Chen Yushu's yellow Beetle directly. Lin Yi had just parked his car in the parking lot of the First People's Hospital and got out when a middle-aged beggar with a cane came to greet him. "Young man, please be kind and give me some money." The beggar came up and started talking non-stop. "My leg was injured while working at the construction site. The black-hearted contractor didn't give me a penny. I can only rely on begging to save up medical expenses. Please be kind and I wouldn't mind giving me 100 or 200. 100 or 200 wouldn't be too little?" Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. This beggar's appetite is too big, right? 100 or 200? He's not afraid of hurting his tongue. If he only wanted 10 or 8 yuan, Lin Yi might not bother with him and just give him some change to send him away, but this beggar was a bit too much, and Lin Yi was naturally a little annoyed. He glanced at the beggar indifferently and said only one word, "Get out." However, the beggar not only did not walk away, but blocked the front of Lin Yi's car like a rogue, and refused to leave. "If you don't give me money, I will sit here all the time. Don't leave today. I'm a disabled person, what am I afraid of? If you have the ability, don't come back." Seeing that the beggar was so tough, Lin Yi was amused. He took out the silver needle box from his pocket, opened it, looked at the beggar indifferently, and said, "Is your leg broken? It's just right, I will help you heal it." As he said, Lin Yi took out a silver needle and was about to stab the beggar. The beggar was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Yi to carry a silver needle with him. He was suddenly a little timid. He looked at Lin Yi hatefully, turned around and left quickly with his crutches. Lin Yi sneered and put away the silver needle box. To deal with people like that, one naturally had to be more domineering than them. Lin Yi locked the car and was about to head into the hospital when a young girl stopped him. Lin Yi frowned slightly. The girl was pretty, with an oval face, large eyes, and curved eyebrows, reminiscent of a romance novel cover. However, her expression wasn't quite right. She looked menacing, as if she was about to eat someone. Her brows were filled with anger, as if he owed her a lot of money. "Hey, how can you be like this? You have no compassion at all? That was a disabled person, okay? Not only did you not give him money, you even used a weapon to scare him off." Yu Xiaoke was furious. Really furious. What she hated most were people like Lin Yi, rich and unkind. He drove such a nice car, yet had no compassion at all. Not giving money would have been fine, but he even threatened a beggar with a weapon? That was simply unethical to a certain degree. With a weapon, Lin Yi was slightly startled, then remembered the silver needle in his hand. It seemed that this brave young woman had misunderstood him. But Lin Yi was too lazy to explain to her. He shook his head and turned to leave. "Hey, I'm talking to you." Yu Xiaoke was even more angry. She grabbed Lin Yi's clothes to stop him from leaving. The man in front of him not only did not know how to repent, but was indifferent to what he said, as if he didn't take any notice. "How can I be worthy of myself if I don't deal with him today? This fat sheep who looks rich but unkind, if I don't do it myself, then the heavens will blame me." "What are you talking about?" The beggar, Lin Yi frowned. "If you pity him, just go and give him money." Lin Yi slapped away Yu Xiaoke's hand that was grabbing his clothes, and a barely perceptible sneer flashed across the corners of his mouth. Chapter 700. I want to challenge you. Of course I will give it to him. I'll go give it to him right now. Yu Xiaoke ignored Lin Yi, turned around and ran towards the beggar, then turned her back to Lin Yi, took out a wallet, took out 100 yuan from it and handed it to the beggar. The beggar's eyes suddenly lit up, and he hurriedly thanked her, while Yu Xiao quickly slipped out of the hospital gate. I make money, I don't know how to spend it. I buy a Nokia with my left hand and a Motorola with my right hand, Yu Xiao sang happily, counting the cash in the wallet in her hand. He drives a Beetle, but it's just over 3,000 yuan, not as much as the 3 perverts I met at noon. But Yu Xiao was still very happy. She made 3,000 yuan in a blink of an eye, especially after teaching that rich and unkind young man a lesson. Bang! Yu Xiao suddenly bumped into someone, which scared her. It was all her fault that she was too involved. She was counting money while walking and didn't even look at the road. Yu Xiao subconsciously said, I'm sorry, I didn't see the road. If you don't know how to spend it, I'll help you spend it. The person who blocked Yu Xiao's way was Lin Yi. Yu Xiao was stunned and looked up, but she didn't expect that the person who came was the young man before, and was immediately shocked. Why are you here? Quite rich. Lin Yi took out a lady's wallet, casually looked through the banknotes inside, and said lightly, more than 10,000 yuan? Quite a harvest. Yu Xiao was shocked when she saw the wallet in Lin Yi's hand, and subconsciously touched her pocket, but she was immediately shocked when she touched it. My wallet? Why is it here with you? Oh, I thought you wanted to exchange your big wallet for my small wallet, Lin Yi said lightly. No wonder you gave a liar 100 yuan. It turns out that you had too much money. You? Nonsense. When did I give money to a liar? Yu Xiao glared at Lin Yi. The beggar before was a liar, Lin Yi said with a hint of sarcasm. His legs are not lame at all, they are fine, healthier than you. Lin Yi is proficient in medicine, so he can naturally tell at a glance whether the beggar is really lame or just pretending to be lame. And when Lin Yi wanted to treat the beggar not only did not stay, but ran away instead, which naturally explained the problem. What evidence do you have? After hearing what Lin Yi said, Yu Xiao couldn't help but frown slightly. She was not stupid, she also often committed crimes in this area, and had seen that beggar more than once or twice, but she didn't think much about it before. But after careful calculation today, the beggar had been begging here for at least half a year, and the money he collected was enough for medical treatment. Why didn't he go to the hospital to see a doctor, but continue to beg? However, Yu Xiao didn't want to admit her mistake, especially in front of Lin Yi. This big bad guy who stole her wallet. I don't want to bother with this. Lin Yi snatched his wallet from Yu Xiao's hand. With your skills, you're still stealing? Go back and practice for a few years before you come out and embarrass yourself. Since the other person was a girl, Lin Yi didn't bother to argue with her. As for her wallet, he decided to confiscate it as a lesson. Don't leave. Yu Xiao was furious. Lin Yi had not only taken away her gains today, but also insulted her skills. This was too much to bear. Yu Xiao always considered herself the best thief, but Lin Yi had not only stolen her wallet, but also told her to go home and practice for a few more years. This was a blatant provocation. Lin Yi naturally ignored her. He had to go to the hospital, so how could he waste his time with this female thief? I challenge you, Yu Xiao, the 46th generation descendant of the Fian sect, would never let Lin Yi go. How could this guy dare to disrespect a disciple of the Fian sect? How could Yu Xiao tolerate this? She was only 18 years old, full of youthful vigor, and naturally refused to admit defeat. For details about Fianmen, please see Very Pure and Very Ambiguous prequel also known as Rebirth Chasing Beauty. Challenge? Challenge what? Lin Yi glanced at Yu Xiao and thought that this girl was a little crazy. This thief was also a top-notch one. After being caught in the act by him, she didn't want to escape, but challenged him. If she met the police, she would have been arrested and thrown in jail. Of course, it's a contest of stealing skills. Yu Xiao puffed out her chest and stared at the big wallet in Lin Yi's hand. If it's a breast comparison, I can still consider it, but if it's a theft comparison, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Lin Yi glanced at Yu Xiao's chest with lust. It wasn't very big, but it was very firm. It seemed that she exercised a lot and had well-developed chest muscles. Yu Xiao was going crazy. She had been in the industry for so long and had never encountered a pickpocketing incident. Today was the first time. This made her angry, but she also felt as if she had suffered a great humiliation. She was the successor of Fianmen. Fian sect is the best thief sect in the martial arts world. How could she lose to others? Besides, Yu Xiao didn't think that her skills were inferior to others, but that she was too excited when counting the money and bumped into Lin Yi, who took advantage of her opportunity to steal her wallet. In fact, Lin Yi had already stolen her wallet at the same time as she stole her wallet, but she just didn't feel it. Lin Yi ignored him and turned away, because Lin Yi thought that this girl had a problem with her brain. With this kind of mentality, she still came out to be a thief and challenged others at every turn. Seeing that Lin Yi was simply ignoring her, Yu Xiaoke gritted her teeth in anger, but there was nothing she could do. This was the first time Yu Xiaoke encountered such a thing, and she didn't know what to do. When she saw Lin Yi leaving, she followed him for some unknown reason. Even if Lin Yi didn't compete with her, she had to get her wallet back. That was her biggest gain this month. How could it be taken away so easily? Yu Xiaoke was unwilling to accept this. Lin Yi didn't expect Yu Xiaoke to follow him. This made him laugh and cry, and he also felt that Yu Xiaoke was really not suited to being a thief. To be a thief to such an extent, she was really stupid. If he went to the police station, would she follow him? Yu Xiaoke followed Lin Yi forward. Yu Xiaoke was still confident in her Qingguang. Fian sect was famous for Qingguang. Although her skills were not very good, she was a fast runner. So, in her opinion, following Lin Yi was a piece of cake. She was looking for a suitable opportunity to take all the wallets and purses on Lin Yi. However, when turning a corner, Yu Xiaoke was stunned. Because Lin Yi was gone. Where is he? Yu Xiaoke looked at the empty street with some surprise. This was the back street of the hospital. Generally, few people passed by, so there was no way he could be lost in the crowd. Because the street was empty at the moment, Yu Xiaoke could see clearly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.